instead. I have no idea what's going on anymore. Shouted. Oh no, I have no idea what's going on anymore, man. On the back on the motorcycle. Oh, shut them up! I don't know nothing about the Stockholm's or syndrome. Dang! Oh my god, that was awesome! How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Danganronpa 2. Goodbye, despair. The series may be over, but there was still one or two things. One big thing. I'd say a whole novel would be considered a big thing. But we also have magical miracle girl, magical Usam Monami star Monokuma. Yeah, take that. We franchising this now. Yes, the series finale is up. The game is over. Not really, sadly. So yeah, we have returned to finish out the last of the Superstar Monami Frick You Kapuya Kusha, all that junk, you know? You know, that's everybody knows the Super Monami Star Princess. Everyone knows that. But primarily for that novel thing. Cause I didn't even know it was in the game. I knew the island life was in the game. I didn't know that we were gonna get a freaking audio book to go with it. So, or maybe I gotta read it. I don't know. I gotta catch up with my speaking skills. If you watched any episode of this series, you know I'm like an illiterate goof. But we also have this, and I looked ahead of time to see like, ooh, like, is there gonna be what would be stage 6? Like, I thought it was gonna be at the hotel. But then I saw it just says secret, so I'm not gonna click on secret to even see what it is until I start the episode. But we're here now finally, so let's see what the frick secret means. Monokuma knew it. Kinda. Oh goody, I can see a Mono Beast already. Oh god, don't tell me I gotta kill all of them. The end where there's no end. You should have Monokuma. Okay, hard we go. I also gotta finish off my epic story, and I gotta remember how to move. Okay. Oh my. Okay, this is. Trippiness, amazing. This does not hurt. I don't know what's going on. Alright, I guess story time. We're going back, and I guess I can still uproot trees from the middle of, Sheo Gorath's Plane of Oblivion. Great. So back to the story. So anyway, where we left off, we talked about Cowslip's Warren, how they were snaring the bunnies, they had the thing to rescue the does from General Woot, and then they got the does, and then they escaped. But now they're like, oh, here he comes! Oh, happy day it is when there's 8,000 Mono Beasts. Ow! There's 8,000 Mono Beasts. I remember how to do this. Take care of the freaking Minutemen first. Minutemen. Yeah, there you go. That's a nickname. Don't hurt me. I can't do a recap game. I'm trying to talk about Watership Down. I gotta face a Mono Beast. Tycho, I remember when you were the worst one, because you were the only one. So by definition, you would have been the worst one, but I don't mind. So then they're all prepping for war, and then they're like, well, actually, we gotta prepare for, well, I don't think we can do it. So Hazel's like, Hazel, you know, is like the actual leader, and he's like, all right, guys, I know we're about to be overrun by a tyrannical, militaristic, totalitarianistic general warmonger, but I think I can talk to him. So then everyone's like, all right, that's a stupid idea, so you're gonna go by yourself. So then Hazel goes by himself. He goes on a super cool sneak mission, totally undetected, steals all the convenience store weapons. I'm just quoting a donkey video. So he goes and he's like, all right, Woonworth, let's make a peace treaty. You know, we can come together. You just share. You just give us something. We give you the more males. You give us more does, and then hoorah, we can sing kumbaya. So Woonworth's like, yeah, that ain't a good idea. Go back and tell your chief, Mr. Bigwig, that we ain't doing nothing. Oh, it's a snake. I forgot about you. But because you're so easy, you ain't got nothing on me, Snake. Freaking Pythor's got more on you, but that's not saying much because Pythor's freaking sick. How do I turn it? There you go. Ow. Oh god, it's a sweeper arm. Alright. So, freaking... What the frick was I just saying? Oh yeah, so... Man, these guys are going down easy games. It's supposed to be hard. It was a challenge. Man, fighting those purple guys really makes you value the actual boss enemies for being weaker than you think. Really puts you in perspective. So Moon was like, hey, Hazel, go tell your chief bigwig I ain't doing jack squat. So Hazel's like, okay, I mean, I'm the chief, but I'm not gonna tell him that because that'll give away the sneak operation. So then he goes back and says, all right, so I mean, I already knew this going into it, but yeah, this plan ain't gonna work. Bigwig's like, oh, I told you it ain't gonna work. And he's like, all right, well, I guess you're right. We gotta just defend our boys because they aren't gonna listen to reason. They're like, okay, either we're gonna die or freaking they're gonna kill us. So at least that makes no sense. Anyway, we gotta defend our one. So like, okay, let's do it. So they start setting up defenses, and they're like, all right, we gotta. How am I supposed to knock this guy out of the air? Come on. Come back! Do not run from your destiny, bird. Well, I cannot hear you. There we go, finally. So yeah. They start prepping for war, and Woonwood's goons come out, and they're like, come on, we're gonna dig down to the war, and we're gonna kill them. And they're like, okay, man, army. And then they hear, what the frick happens next? Ow! I die, that's what happens next. I just want to get this guy out of here. Okay. Okay, after that happens, then I don't know what I'm going for right now. They start, yeah, they're prepping for. I just repeat myself because I'm too busy focusing on this freaking bird. I got two things at once. Heck yeah, that's just awesome. So one of the guys stay back. His name is Black Avoy. He was one of the males they rescued from freaking Woonwood's place. And they're like, all right, man, today. Oh god, now you're green. How dare you? How freaking dare you disrespect the color green? I'm trying to let you know that green is the Weegee color. All right, you massive blocky things that don't even know who I am. That's right. Take that. Anyway, back to Watership Down. So they're like, this guy's like, I'm gonna stay back, and eventually the enemy rabbits, they break in, and they're like, all right, man, we gotta be, rabbit. So they're like, okay, Woonwood, I don't know what you're saying, but you said it, boss. So then they take a 5-minute break. No. So they go in, and June Woonwood goes inside as Hazel and two other dinguses run off and like, all right, we're gonna freaking lure a dog over here because that'll stop our Woonwood for good. We got a freaking plot going on here, don't we? Yeah, get it done. They turn southern instead of British there for some reason. So then sound like freaking Teru. Hey, callbacks. Ow! They like, all right, we're gonna go get a dog by that same shack. Yeah, that I just got shot at. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, we're gonna go right back there and get a dog because that's gonna be safe. I am almost dead. How dare you? So like, all right, well, I mean, that sounds. I can give you a list of 18,000 reasons as to why that is a bad idea, but you know what? Whatever, man. You do you. So they're like, Lord Frith, watch over me. I know. I'm not a gambling man, but I'm feeling lucky today. So they go and they release a dog, and it works fine. And they get like a trail of bunnies. They lead it to the camp. And at that time, Woonwood is like in the place, and he's looking for the bunnies. He's looking for Bigwig, who is the betrayer. And this is the most confusing retelling of anything ever, because I keep going, yeah, you can tell the storyteller's really knowing their words when they go like, and then they stop till they go, no. One of them, they're fighting a green gummy bear. Anyway, god dang it. And the horse was the worst one. Yeah, I know the secret. No, frick you. And then back. What are you doing? Get out the corner. I can't hurt you. No. Oh, I'm gonna die. I don't want to die. Yeah. No. Guys, dang it! I didn't get finished the retelling. That wasn't in the good retelling. No. The episode has started. Game over, Monokuma. Freaking suck. Alright. Well, we got new equipment. Let's see what we got. We got something that's like 1,000. Okay, so I think we got the best one of this. We got the Autumnal Hope Ribbon. I think that's the word. A ribbon that transforms hope into power. The newborn's cries of hope will echo through the world and cut through the fork of despair. Yeah, man, you said it. And yeah, we got the best one of this. I think since this one has a slide thing and this one has a slide thing, we're missing just one rod. And when we get it, that'll get all our things to 1,000. Or maybe I have the max right now and I just suck. I don't freaking know. Anyway, I'll be back with freaking the lunatics retelling Bunny Story Watership Down. And the horse is a freaking dingus. I'll be back. Alright, we are back. We've returned. Oh, I just realized it's 2 big guys and the horse. Just when you thought you might have a millimeter of a chance at winning. Okay, I saved up my freaking... Stop backing up into a freaking corner! Oh, you suck so much, horse! Okay, well, Jesus, where the hell'd you go? Come back! Yeah, take that! Ahua! Stop backing up into the corner! Oh, the horse is my least favorite one. Now it's doing its boomerang thing. Joke's on you, loser. I'm on your head. Well, joke's on me, I guess. I'm in danger, and I can't circle around him. Okay, I gotta bait him out of here. Get out of here, sucker! Ow, my ears! I forgot he had the frick you ears move. When he goes, ow! Ow! No, please stop, horsey! Bad horse! Be a good horse and die! Ah. Sorry, looks like this baby lost the cup. We're gonna have to put him down. You got one broken leg. We cutting that sucker off! Finally! Okay, back to the story. God, I hate the horse one. Anyway, back to Watership Down. So Black Voice stayed back, and Moonwood's going through a tunnel, and the music's going bum 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 run dun 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 dun, and all of a sudden he's here, General! And then here comes Black Voice out of the shadows, ready to save the day, and then he gets freaking TKO'd by freaking Moonwood, who rips out his throat, and it's like really bloody. And did I mention this movie was rated U? Which is a fault for the freaking censors. Like, Jesus, like they look. Oh, it's a cute bunny movie. They didn't take into account that there's a freaking fat one ripping out the cute one's jugular. By the way, Black of All is the hot one, which is weird. Anyway, moving on. That's just the general consensus of the community. Don't worry, that's not my personal opinion. I'm not looking at rabbits like, oh my God, look at that Usami. You got nothing on Black of All, but. These guys are going down faster than usual. I can't even finish my story. So I gotta speed through this. So he kills Black of All, then Big Wig surprises, attacks Moonwood, and they start fighting. And Moonwood's like, I'm gonna kill you. And Big Wig's like, no, you're not. So then Big Wig kills Moonwood, and then no, he doesn't kill Moonwood. The dog. That's the time when the dog gets here. So the dog arrives, and like, okay, the dog's here. And then the one guy's like, run for your life, because you know it's a dog and they're bunnies. I cannot get a break in that massive nonsense. So then the dog is like, and the dog just starts like eating these bunnies alive, like in front of these babies' faces. This dog is going, it's like it's rabid too. It's a rabid dog just eating all of these bunnies, and it's like the most gruesome thing ever. But it goes like it's triumphant music and everything. So then the dog finishes eating the bunnies. Moonwood charges like, I'm not afraid of a dog, rah! And then the dog just freaking eats him. Off camera though, you know, we can't, because you know this movie don't like no violence. Alright, let me turn into God mode for this guy. This guy is easy. Because in God mode, you got freaking nothing on me. Bring it, sucker! Oh, I'm sorry, are you already freaking dead? Jesus, Usami mode is the best. Freaking the dog kills Moonwood on camera. Freaking Hazel dies, and the black rabbit's like, okay, let me take you back to heaven to join my Omfla, however you pronounce it. Don't tell me the last level was going to be all of them together. But and then he floats away. What happened to Fiverr? I don't know. Movie don't tell us. I hope he's alive because he was nice. Hazel dies. His Watership Down lives on, and that is the end of my completely horrendous retelling of Watership Down. Actually, hold on. This is freaking perfect because that leads into the novel. Because I just got done retelling this. Like, I got done disgracing my favorite book of all time, and now I'm about to disgrace the Danganronpa novel. God wishes for the day where I would be struck down from this earth and I wouldn't have to ruin any parts of mass media anymore. I'm here to stay, to fight the watermelon giant dudes. The big watermelon dudes. I've gotten good at fighting them. The key is just to aim where they're gonna go and just expect to fight them for 3 hours, because that's how long it's going to take. Unless you pull up the 3 roots of frick you destruction, then you're down to just 1. But yeah, the first time I fought one, ow! Alright, never mind, I don't know nothing. What a deviation from the normal Weegee. Oh my god. I'm not as sick anymore. I'm feeling much better, which means I can record much, which is the reason for the lack of videos. But now I can go back to screeching like a lunatic. Alright, what's next? Oh god. The evilest enemies. It's probably just a play. I gotta get rid of these guys fast because of the time limit. So like, you need 448 seconds to get past the next part. Like, no! Oh, hey, there you go. Oh! Oh, Monokuma, bring it on! What? Bring it on, Monokuma! Usami mode! Akua! Akua! Monokuma! 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 Take this! Sucker! I love you, Monokuma! Please don't hate me for that! Oh! Oh! Hopecroft P1000, sucker! Not even a damage taken! Probably because I was invincible, which is kind of cheating. I don't care. Stage clear! That took 3.5 seconds. Trophy earned a magical ending. I got 182,000 points. Yes! I didn't get to see the Bucktooth guy or the Mousecapay man. I got to see Pickle Guy, Dingus Purple, Nice Guy, and Spiky Dude. And that's it. That's the end. That's the anticlimactic end. Circled Monokuma for a couple seconds, and that's it. Did I get all the max things? Yes, I did. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Magical Miracle Girl Usami, Monami, Monokuma, Star, Princess, Pudgy Princess, probably somewhere in there. That was a really fun minigame. Oh, I want to do it again! Can we have another level? Alright. I'll say this once again before I get into the novel. Don't worry, that wasn't... Jeez, that felt like a whole episode in and of itself. But no, we're gonna do the novel. I don't know how freaking long it is. Like I said, I didn't even know it existed. It could be 1 hour, it could be 18. But it does say light novel, so I'm gonna assume it's all gonna be in this episode. Which, if it's 4 hours long, then yeah, it can be in this episode. I have a video on my channel that's 4 hours long. Multiple videos, actually. I used to think when I did the Undertale finale, like, oh my god, 4 hours, that's never gonna be beaten. And then it just became like, alright, it's a trial, time for 4 hours. One time I came home from school, after 7 hours of school, and we had like a couple tests and like an essay due that day. I came home at 3 p.m. and I recorded for 5 hours to get a 4-hour video out. Kind of like 5 hours. It's a lot, there's a lot of just, you know, time in between, you know, eating dinner was somewhere in there. I don't know why I'm freaking talking about dinner. Anyway, that just became a normal thing. So if this is 5 hours, then maybe that's pushing a little. If it's 9 hours, then if when we get to the 9-hour mark, guys, I might just call it, like, you know, maybe for next time I can do after 9 hours. But yeah, I did know that this was in the game before I started it, because the last game had one too called School Mode. This is Island Mode. And they both seem really fun, but since they're like almost, I've read like entire other games themselves, and they're gonna take a long time to do everything. I'm gonna hold off on School Life and Island Life. I'm gonna do this because I think I can do this in one episode, so it'll be a nice final thing. Also gives me an excuse to do the final thing of this. So this was really fun. I can't keep saying that. So we're gonna do this hopefully in this one episode, and then I'll do Ultra Despair Girls, and then I'll do the third game, and then I'll do School Life from the first game, Island Mode in the second game, and then if the third game has one, why not? I know nothing about the third game. I knew a lot because the first and second game, because all the characters look really cool. The third game characters look really cool, but they look kind of blend in with each other. I don't know. Maybe that's me. I haven't even played it. What am I talking about? Anyway, normal time. Apparently, starring Junko and Mukuro, so it's nice to see more of those guys. And I think, yeah, this is trigger Happy Havoc. If the button of hope and the tragic warriors of despair. Long name. Character introduction, finish. Do I do this first? I don't know. I'll do it from the beginning first. Let's play it safe. If Monokuma Theater, let's go! Monokuma's monologue. The world is full of ifs. If Adam hadn't tried to not have with what? Oh, tie the knot with Eve. Shady as we know when I've never been born. The world that everyone lives in was just an outcome among countless ifs. I told you I'm not super sick anymore, but I still can't do the Monokuma thing, sadly, but I'll try my best. Because I love Monokuma. And with continue will be a muddled world of overflowing with infinite ifs. If is what it's miso soup, no? What lies beyond this point is a scary world full of with if stepfathers will abandon their families. A klein bottle where they use inside and outside of filled with uncertainty. Don't break it. Okay, sorry Monokuma, I don't want to break it. It'd be so expensive, there'd be no way you'd be able to pay me back. But no matter how you look at it, ifs are simply like any other. No matter how hypothetical the story may be, the future can only be... I warned you, I am not good at speaking. It's the only thing that's truly foggy. And the past is more solid than a frozen banana. What? You can't change the conclusion because that has already happened. Even if you see a world that may have existed, won't affect the people living in reality, because if is only if, after all. Even if a parallel world exists where a particular if actually happened, humans cannot cross the boundaries between worlds that easily. No matter how far if goes, it will always be what ifs and if. Okay, Monokuma, wrap this up. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I love you. Do you really want me to say that? You've got some sick interests. I'm so sorry I got angry at you last time. I was just really hyped that Hajime... It was the finale, man. Cut me some slack. Do you really want to see that? You've got some sick interests. I don't think you as an insult to Makoto and the others after the tragedy they overcame. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'll still insult them. I can do that. I'll do that. Why not? I'm dying. If you're going to look at it, I think it's better if you view the outside of the kind bottle first. It might be better if you view the ending of a video game called Danganronpa Trigger Happy. Oh, I'm literally a month ahead of you, man. Try to play multiple times and spend your free time with Tuko and Oshima at least 3 times too. Do I gotta do that? Oh, I love the theme. It may be ideal if you can collect all items in movies too. But if you guys have come this far, I'm sure you've already done all that. Yeah. Still, for the game, I already got it. I got the game on Monokuma. I literally have every single game except the one that I cannot play. It's on a different console. I bought Danganronpa. I bought the trilogy, okay? I didn't buy the first and second game together. I bought all 3 together, thinking it was going to be an okay series. And I have Despair Girls. I have a Monokuma necklace and a Monokuma pair of shades, with one of the shades being his freaking red eye. Why? Monokuma's the best! I'm ahead of you! I should buy at least 2 copies if... No! Dang it! Oh, I failed him. I don't have 2 copies. The curtain lowers. I don't know how the frick this is gonna go, but it's gonna be awesome. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Oh, we start our story in the gift shop full of gravy ladles, knights in shining armor, and I'm surprised that this wasn't used in part of our thing. Wait, has that Mono Mall always been there? Maybe, I don't know. What should I do with this? Makoto Negi was at a loss. Oh, I'm him. Despite his hesitation, his situation was extremely simple and composed of 3 key factors. The first factor was that Makoto was currently locked inside a school. Hope's Peak Academy is a school with a privileged elite, and each student attending possesses ultimate talent. So is this just like... I don't know what's going... I know it's an if story. It's like what would happen. Dude, what would happen? Oh, I love that show. That show in Destroy Build Destroy. Did you know that guy who hosted Destroy Build Destroy does like a metal band, and he has a song, You Better Get Ready to Die, which so that really matches up. Thanks, Cartoon Network. You ready to have some fun with Gumball Watterson? Yeah, but first let's watch Destroy Build Destroy. You better get ready to die. Get ready. Like, oh my, Yeah! What am I talking about? The kids probably would love that. Put on freaking whatever that guy's name, his metal songs. I'm sure the kids would dig it. Jose Academy. Okay, are you at that? I've lost my pace. Monokuma was chosen to attend Hopefully Academy by a lottery held by the ultimate lucky student when he arrived at the first day of school. He immediately lost consciousness, and when he woke up, he saw all the exits and windows had been sealed shut. The next factor was Monokuma, a mysterious robot bear. Hey! He's not a robot, alright? He's freaking Monokuma! In the announcement he had made to all the students, "You'll be living your whole life in this academy," he declared. "If you want to leave and kill someone and become the Blackened." This strange remote control... Hey! This strange, totally not strange at all, Monokuma bear was telling Makoto and his fellow Ultimates to start killing each other in exchange for their freedom. They learned that more than one Monokuma exists and that each one contains a bomb to prevent anyone from attacking them. On top of that, Monokuma announced that anyone who would attempt to harm him would receive a punishment. This is just recap of stuff I know, gang. The third and final factor was the red button that Makoto was currently holding in his hand. The words escape button were crudely written on this button in the marker. And though the first two factors were certainly causes for panic, Makoto only seemed to lost over the third. During his free time, Makoto noticed that the school store was open and his curiosity got the better of him. He was overwhelmed by the disjointed atmosphere upon entering, and his attention soon focused on a strange vending machine. Yeah, that wasn't there. The words... What's this whole if story just be the same exact thing as the first game, but instead there's the Mono Mall? That's all. The words Monoma machine was written on it, and it seemed to accept the strange bear pattern coins that they sometimes found inside the school. It seemed like a bad idea, but Makoto thought there might be a chance his machine could dispense some way of escaping the school. What? And so he inserted only one coin he had into the coin slot, and the result was the escape button mentioned earlier. There's a limit how much you can tease us. Maybe the mastermind who trapped us in here is making a cruel joke. These thoughts filled Makoto's mind as he began to deeply discouraged. However, there's always a chance, right? Makoto was just an ordinary boy. He only gained entry to Hopefully Academy through the lottery to find the ultimate lucky student. Maybe the luck was just a real deal. If this button is real, maybe I can let Sayaka... Makoto took a deep breath, slowly and pressed the button. Instantly, pain burst through his entire body. Makoto's arms and legs went limp as he lost balance and fell into the floor's crumbled heap. As he breathed heavily, it dawned on him what had just happened. I got it. Executed. Yeah, okay. Why am I doing Monokuma's voice for Hajime? I'm turning into him! Hajime, Makoto screamed, and Hajime is there too somehow. That is the if. He looked down at the button in his hands and noticed a small needle sticking out of it. Makoto quickly surmised that an electric current must have been running through it. After regaining enough of his strength to stand back up, Makoto thought about it once again. Maybe I should have known. It was a fake. So sick and twisted was the mastermind. Head still feels a little woozy. Should go back to my room and rest today. With that in mind, Makoto walked out of the school store and slowly with careful steps. But Makoto didn't know yet. If the escape button really was a fake, it would have been an act of mercy from the mastermind. A small bear-shaped shadow began moving around inside the now empty school store. The shadow, Monokuma, stood before the Mono machine and stared at it silently. But after some time had passed, he began to laugh. A cold, hollow laugh, utterly devoid of motion. I can't do his poo-hoo-hoo because my voice is freaking me over. Freaking sickness! I don't want to sit! He's got the music. Despite the fact he was alone, Monokuma began to talk almost as if he was speaking to someone. Perhaps Monokuma was talking directly to the mastermind controlling him. I only put in the Mono machine because I thought I'd be interested in when the last few survivors happened to win it. But with a success rate of, Jesus, 0.0000001%, I never thought anyone would actually win it. Perhaps I shouldn't have expected the ultimate lucky student to overcome such impossible odds. Monokuma started blushing and breathing heavily for no apparent reason. That's Monokuma! That's the Monokuma I know. A robot like Monokuma doesn't need to breathe, but because of his technology is super advanced, he can express himself as a living creature. Makoto was chosen through a lottery, and now he won an escape button through a lottery. It's obviously impossible, right? Is that what a miracle is? Miracle is? Is this all systems go towards escaping? Is something that defines all common sense about to come crashing on my world? Are we just gonna keep asking questions without an answer immediately? Well, even though I don't really want to do it at all, I'm starting to enjoy the news station. Well, come now. We're right back after these commercials. Oh god, we got commercials in a book. Welcome to the book. Here's an ad for Tide. Monokuma's internal machinery began running at full capacity and his facial expressions began changing more smoothly than any humans could. Suddenly his expressions immediately stopped and whispered through his speakers. But this is really good luck. Oh! After muttering something so ominous, Monokuma's loud screeching laughter rang jarringly through the school room. This is going great so far. The situation was about to unfold contained two conflicting emotions in equal measure. Hope and despair. And I guess we just have the book to remain. We're back in the room. The next day, nighttime, student dormitory, Makoto's... This isn't gonna end up like a fan fiction, is it? Did Hifumi write this? Are we just acting in something Hifumi wrote in? We're not gonna get all creepy. Well, we're gonna get creepy with the scary music, but we're not gonna get all creepy with the freaking, you know... As far as fan service of last game goes, I hope we don't go that far. But this is contained within the very same universe as this game, so who knows? Then his bed, desperately struggling with the despair and hope churning within. God, I love this game so much. I love this series. Monokuma forces students to watch, each watch a DVD earlier. Dear God, not HD DVD! That thing went out of business years ago! Makoto showed a scene that suggested his parents and little sister were in danger, and now he found himself determined to leave the school. I'm telling you, man, it was just a dog. I don't get what this is. You know, it's obviously a dog. You know, saw the mailman, went crazy, scratched up the couch. It's fine. They went to get a new Versace. I don't even know if Versace makes couches. I don't know what the frick Versace is. And we're moving on. It seemed like the other students were forced to watch shocking videos of their own. Videos so shocking that they were determined to escape the school too, even if it meant sacrificing someone to do it. However, it was obvious that these videos were part of Monokuma's trap. As long as a student killed someone, they were allowed to graduate and then leave the academy. It seemed that the mastermind controlling Monokuma was hell-bent on making the students kill each other. But right now, Makoto was most worried about Sayaka Mizono and seemed to be incredibly distressed after watching her DVD. Sayaka was just the ultimate pop sensation. She was also Makoto's classmate when they were students at Blackroot Junior High. I still don't know if I believe that. Because she tried to frame me, and I know at the end she still tried to protect me. In her final moments of life, she tried to protect me that I was innocent and reveal the real killer. But still, I mean, come on. I don't... Well, they probably are. They probably did go to the same school. But I still think that might have been some further to trick me, but... Her optimism had been encouraging Makoto these past few days. She was becoming a similar source of strength for her as well. If nothing else, I have to at least save Sayaka. Well, I got some bad news for you, buddy. You might not want to wake up tomorrow. And as soon as Makoto thought that, he suddenly felt a small headache. Yeah. Was he still reeling from being punched by Mondo the other? Oh yeah, that's right, the freaking... How you doing, butter boy? Oh, I'm sorry to anybody watching for saying that I had to. Was he still reeling from being punched by Mondo the other day? Or was it the side effect from being electrocuted from the escape button? Makoto pondered these things. The pain slowly subsided and he returned to his determined thoughts to escape. Actually, I want to say something about that Mondo punishment. I don't know if it's going to bring up later. If it is, then this is totally useless, but whatever. I saw online, watching a video while playing through the second game about, like, the first game's executions explained, and when I first saw the machine after Mondo disappeared, I thought it was just going to be, like, a liquid thing. But it was butter. That's why I was so caught off guard. And I was bracing myself for, like, the most gruesome thing I've ever seen. But no, it was just freaking butter. So, a lot of people like, we know that he electrocuted, but we don't know how the electrocution was connected to him. But I have a theory. I think that it was his hair. Because when people think of electricity and hair, they sort of think they go together. You know, your hands here, your hair stands up. When electricity is near you, your hair stands up to its thing. And it attracts, you know, lightning and attracts electricity to you. There's a very famous picture. It's actually very morbid of these two kids outside with, like, blonde hair, like, and, like, their hair is all standing up outside at dark. And, like, seconds later, they were struck by lightning. It's an awful story. I'm not going to make light of it because it's really bad. But I do want to use that as evidence for connecting how I think Mondo and the electricity were connected to each other. Because Monokuma was also wearing the hair. Now, he might have just been wearing that to match him with Mondo. But he was also, but I believe it'd make more sense if it was part of the execution for Monokuma to, like, symbolize a part of it. Because people, like I said, their hair stands right up. Mondo had freaking ridiculous hair, alright? And the hair, if it would have if his hair would have stood up, that could clearly touch the other side of the cage from the bottom where the bike is, because he's tall too, so we can reach it too with his hair. The hair connected with the metal cage, which surged the electricity through him, and the G-force of going so freaking fast around that cage essentially liquefied him, and then it processed him into the butter tin, and then that's how he came out. And the electricity like zapped his stuff to make him softer to squish. Yeah. I don't know, that's just my theory, but I thought that might have been why. Anyway, back to Duncan Funfic. What is it? Funfic. It's a funfic that we've all been waiting for. The funfic. Anyway, we all need to work together then. Huh? Knock, knock, knock. Oh, I guess not. I guess we're changing it. What a deviation from the norm. Instead of a knock at the door, Makoto's got a headache. Whoa. At that moment, Makoto realized his goal had changed slightly. We all need to? Ideally, it would be best if everyone survived together. However, aside from Sayaka, Makoto had never met other students before. He didn't know if they could ever be trusted in the first place. But at that moment, he trusted them without even an ounce of suspicion. He believed they would be worth helping at all costs on his own life. And just like Sayaka. Why? The headache struck again. As if the blood vessels in his brain were being individually sliced. Oh, that is a nice image to think of. Why did I just think that I could trust the others just as much as I trust Sayaka? Makoto tried to figure out why his thought process had suddenly changed. Something was wrong. The throbbing pain in his head seemed to synchronize with the strange feeling that something was approaching him. As a ray of light began to form within the darkness recesses of his own mind, the doorbell rang. Oh, there we go. Someone's here? He quickly got out of bed. That made the only headache worse. With no concern for his safety, Makoto carelessly opened the door of his room and came face to face with Sayaka. I'm really sorry to come by so late. Sayaka? The pain! What are you doing out so late? The moment he saw her face, the pulsating pain in Makoto's head began accelerating. He felt like his world was being torn apart from the inside out. Sorry to bother you, but something really weird is happening, and Makoto, what's wrong? You don't look so well. Sayaka was pale and had been trembling when she came to Makoto's room, but she seemed surprised to see that his complexion was worse than her own. Yeah, I'm fine. My head. Makoto couldn't finish his sentence. His eyes rolled back to his head as he lost consciousness and slowly fell to the floor. And Sayaka's beautiful voice let out a scream as she stood over Makoto's body. Everyone comes out. Sayaka, you killed him! Alright, heck yeah, Makoto, you stopped the murders by having a headache, you sick loser. I'm just kidding, I'm sick too, I'm with you. Not as sick, haha, I don't have a headache, that's gonna cause me to pass. That joke was really hurt by the fact no camera, I just pretended to pass out. Okay, moving on. No more jokes, I'm done with jokes, no more! Oh, you're awake! Hey, you okay? How many fingers am I holding up? Makoto regained consciousness. He was greeted by the sight of fingers of one of the fake nails being waved in his face. Oh, God. Is it Celeste? No, it's Mukuro. Huh? Just gonna make random sound. You're Junko, right? No, it's Mukuro. Hey, why do you sound so unsure? I'm a little shocked to hear you say that. Despite what she said, Junko Enoshima, Mukuro Ikusaba, the ultimate soldier, was laughing as if she found it very amusing. I'm glad my son coma-inducing headache has bring you gradual momentarily joy. I'm so happy. I'm gonna pass out again. Makoto looked around and realized he'd never seen this place before. It looked somewhat like a hospital. 3 beds, including his own, were lined up in the room with various medical instruments light around them. The black ceiling felt strangely oppressive, but as he sat up, Makoto's mind immediately centered on one possibility. Where are we? Did we get rescued? We got rescued. That'd be nice. Huh? She replied as she looked away. Junko explained that this was the nurse's office on the first floor of the academy. That Monokuma thing said, I can't bear to see my precious students getting sick, and open this place up in the morning. But don't you think it's suspicious? What if all these meds are poison? No, actually, that's on the 4th floor. To be honest, I won't be surprised. Makoto remembered his encounter with the escape button and let a small sigh. So why am I here, Junko? You think Sayaka for that? My voice! She was there the whole night taking care of you. Oh, thank you. She was? Junko ignored Makoto's surprise and continued casually talking. I like this fun, bubbly music after I just got a headache. Hey, you just got a headache, but we gonna boom. Should freaking just put on a Christmas song while at it. Christmas, Merry Christmas. Makoto's just on the ground. But then Taka got all fired up and it was like, we should take turns watching over him. Just happened to be the on duty when you woke up. Well, and even then, only because Byakuya ditched. Yeah, I imagine. I see. Thanks. Like I said, you should thank Sayaka. Anyway, how you feeling? Is everything alright? Huh? Makoto thought about it for a moment and remembered what he had been thinking about just before he lost consciousness. This is kind of weird, but actually it's a really weird question. What's up? Junko, we've never met each other before, right? Upon hearing this, Junko's eyes widened, but a few seconds later, I'm on to ya! Huh? Are you for real? The pickup line is like, so totally played out, you know? Even though she was grinning, a serious look came over her face. Just so you know, you shouldn't expect anything like that from me. I know I look this way because I take virtue pretty seriously. No, I mean, I never expected. Well, that's what I figured. It's obviously you're a total omega male and you... What is this game? What happened? Makoto and Junko continued to talk to one another. Although he wondered why Junko was talking to him instead of leaving him to the others, Makoto didn't question him. He just wanted to talk to anyone. As long as he interacted with his fellow students, he believed he would learn the truth about what was going on inside his head. Oh, Jesus Christ, you do not want to go in your head, man, because that is where I reside, Makoto. You do not want anyone near me. Junko mostly talked about alpha males and omega males, her time being homeless and depressed and her dreams of the future. Alright, what a fun, bubbly conversation we got here. The last topic was a lot heavier than the previous one, when Makoto's calm demeanor seemed to cheer her up. She smiled sincerely and said softly, "Thanks, Makoto." Maybe it was a sign of gratitude for listening to her troubles, but she kept the same smile as she blurted out something horrifying. In return, I promise that if I do decide to kill someone, it won't be you. Thank you. Don't say scary stuff like that. At least that's what Makoto thought, but the words that came out of his mouth expressed a different sentiment. I see. Thanks. But I wouldn't want you to become the Blackened in the first place. For some reason, Makoto felt like the murderous words that came out of Junko's mouth seemed like a natural thing for her to say. She seemed very surprised by Makoto's response and quickly blurted out, "Huh? Are you serious? I was just kidding." Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry for acting so weird. No worries, man. Just like talking about you, I'm a wizard with recovery. She returned to her usually bubbly self, let out a stretch, and turned to Makoto. She didn't smile like the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, did she? She didn't have that massive Vine smile with the toothy grin. All right, I'll take your word for it. I'm gonna go now. Make sure you don't get killed before the next person arrives. Seeing her off, Makoto laid back down in the bed and started thinking to himself, what is this strange feeling? His dull headache continued as his thoughts began to blur. I was just talking to Junko, but I feel like I was talking to somewhere else. Who is she? Kyoko's gonna whisper in your ear, "Make your ego stop!" Like, gee, back up! I know there's freaking camera right there. Oh my god, my freaking voice is killing me. The more he thought, the more it felt like memories were sinking into a thick swamp. Each throb of pain pulsing on his head felt like a wave of the surface of that swamp. What is this feeling? It felt very unpleasant, as though someone's voice was screaming at him from inside his head. Makoto tried to organize his thoughts and go over everything that happened to him, but he was interrupted by the sound of a bell. Unlike the dorm rooms, the nurse's office didn't have a doorbell. The bell that Makoto heard was ringing throughout the entire... Oh! Who died? Him. Testing. Mic check. 1, 2. This is the test of the school's broadcasting system. It was Monokuma's voice. Yeah! Oh, my voice. I hate you so much. Now that Monokuma has finally awakened, please assemble at the gym. Makoto listened to Monokuma's heartless order and got out of his bed without complaining. I have to go. He walked to the step at a time in accordance with the rhythm of his throbbing headache. Slowly, he walked forward, not knowing if where he was headed was heaven or hell. Both. It's got Monokuma, so it's both. The gym. Oh, Makoto, are you alright? I don't know who's talking right now. Oh, sorry, Sayaka. I didn't mean to butcher your voice, but you did try to frame me, so all was fair in the end. Sayaka ran over to Makoto as soon as he entered the gym. Yeah, thanks. Sorry about yesterday. I guess I really worried you. Please don't apologize. I'm sorry too. I bought you when you weren't feeling well. Now that you mention it, said Makoto, what happened yesterday? Sayaka looked away for a brief moment, but immediately turned back, smiled to a pop and smile. Shook her head. Ha, it's nothing. I'll tell you some other time. Yep, poor Leon is still alive. Yeah. Huh? While they were talking, Kyotaka Ishimaru, the ultimate moral compass, stepped forward towards pointing an accusatory finger at Makoto. You were late, Makoto! Explain why you were tardy! The other students collectively raised their eyebrows as they were thinking, why is this guy yelling at someone who was sick? Because he's freaking deserves it. Like, yeah. However, Makoto just smiled gently and answered him honestly. I didn't feel well, so I was resting in the nurse's office. What are you gonna do about it, sucker? That's when I get punched in the face and go right back to the nurse's office. Can you note that in the daily logbook? I see. That's consistent with my information. If that's the case, then I shall consider this matter settled. The conversation progressed smoothly, and Taka smiled as he kept talking. God, I miss Taka so much. I'll take full responsibility for accordion. You just keep focused on recovering. If you feel ill, please report to the health committee. Seems I need to appoint health committee members after this meeting, though. Taka walked away, mumbling to himself as he opened a daily logbook he found in the academy supply room. Celestia Ludenberg. Oh, I hate her. The ultimate gambler saw the whole conversation and walked up to Makoto. Despite his unreasonable behavior, he knew exactly what to say to him. Huh? As soon as Celeste said that, it dawned on Makoto. It's true they didn't feel well and that he had been resting in the nurse's office, but when Taka asked him why he was late, even though he should have already known the reason, Makoto didn't feel annoyed or disappointed at all. It was as if he expected Taka to say that Makoto felt strange that he accepted Taka's personality so quickly. He couldn't understand why he asked Taka to do something as unnecessary as recording in the daily logbook in the first place. Why did I say that? It's like I was used to it. His response to Taka's demands came as naturally as to him breathing. Oh, that's what the button was! Monokuma remembered. Well, he didn't remember everything, but Makoto doesn't remember, but his brain remembers. And that makes no sense. He remembers. It's like a muscle memory thing, you know. He talks to them naturally as if he knows them, but he can't really remember that he knows them right now. Why? My throat! Every time he tried to think about it, his headache grew even worse. As Makoto struggled to think through the pain of his headaches. A black and white bear jumped out from behind the gym's podium and began twirling around as it spoke in a cheerful voice. Hey guys, is everyone here? It sounded like he was about to lead the students on a field trip, but not a single one of them had a smile on their faces. What was it this time? I can hijack a cruise ship and ready to hijack one. Of course, there's only one exception. Yasuhiro Hagakure, the ultimate clairvoyant! To believe the current situation was coming to play an event. Look, he's back! Show me his face, game! I demand to see him. He was the best. I've been waiting for him this whole game, this whole goodbye despair. He didn't even show at the finale when he should have. He should have replaced freaking Makoto. Makoto didn't even need to be at the finale. He was supposed to be Yasuhiro. Where is he, game? Monokuma just ignored him and continued to address the students with his adorable voice. Hey, there you go. He is adorable. Today, I want to tell you about our wonderful academy system. System. Sure sounds like a great word, don't you think? Hey, reach of danger. Take a bear. I want you all to a trip all over the desks of your friends and go to have a hot and heights. I cannot do his voice. It sucks. Actually, since this is Danganronpa, we're gonna, to get around the fact, I can't do my Monokuma voice. Because my freaking voices can't go up that high. For now, at least, because freaking, you know, sickness. So, this is Danganronpa. We're gonna do, if Weegee had, different voices for the characters, that's somehow gonna be, so let's do it. I want you all to go poisonous poisonality. Making his nonsensical introduction, Monokuma moved on to the next topic. With this, he began providing a detailed explanation on the most vital system of the school. The class trial. Yeah! The best part, actually. Now, you can just kill someone. You gotta kill someone without anyone finding out you did it. Monokuma talked about his horrible graduation program with his casual indifference. It feels so weird doing a different voice from Monokuma. I'm gonna miss it for this one episode, but whatever. But because a killing hadn't happened yet, his lecture didn't install any despair in the students. As long as the killing never occurred, there'd be no point in the class trial. But no one could really say that a killing wasn't going to happen. As the students' suspicion began to rise, Monokuma continued explaining the class trial until... Well, wait, hold on a second. Monokuma began to explain his executions that would serve as a punishment. One girl stepped forward. Junko, yeah! As soon as he saw how angry she was, the rhythm of Makoto's headache began to change slightly. You're freaking insane, you know that? Huh? The girl continued to explain angrily. She seemed completely different from the smiling person Makoto saw at the nurse's office. Huh? Wasn't Junko always like that? No, she's different. That's how Junko acts, but... Is that person really Junko? Huh? Wait, what am I thinking? Oh, Makoto, let's go! Makoto struggled with his own headache and confusion. Monokuma and the girl continued to argue.
What? Are you saying you're not going to participate in the trial? Only punishment awaits such blasphemy.
What punishment?
I don't know, throw in a deep dark scary prison or something.
Different? The strange feeling he felt was now directly at Monokuma. A prison? No, they aren't that kind. What? What is going on? A series of images flashed in Makoto's mind and at first he thought it was some kind of parade. But he quickly realized that was a mistake. What looked like lights were actually buildings engulfed in flames. The red decorating the scene seemed to have come from a human body. What the hell? Despair. It wasn't confirmed to the Academy or even to Japan. Images, the word death and destruction flooded Makoto's brain with every throb of his headache. I've seen this before. Besides the indescribable violence taking place in all these images, there was one thing they had in common. Who are they? They're rampaging terrorists wearing black and white masks who were wreaking havoc in the image. Yeah, the Mono men, the Monokuma men, best men and women and people in the world. Love the Mono people. They took everything: money, valuables, lives, families, dignity, the past, the future, and possibly even hope. The masks these terrorists were wearing perfectly resembled the face of the real bear animal arguing with the student before him. Shut the hell up! Say whatever you want. I'm not going to be a part of this.
Don't be so selfish.
You're the one being selfish. Do whatever you want. It's all it's got to do with me. The evil is standing before me. I'm trembling with fear.
But I won't give in to such evil.
Who is talking? It's my soul to stick it out and resist to the very end. I want to get out of here.
Oh, you have to go through me first.
Who is talking? Oh, Monokuma. Oh. Monokuma swung his arms wildly as he charged at the girl with waddling. Ah! The girl stormed the self-proclaimed headmaster of the academy with ease. Yep. Are you enjoying yourself now? Pinned beneath the girl's foot, Monokuma looked up and the arms coming out.
Golly spear, gang here! Are you?
Huh?
Violence against Headmaster Monokuma is not allowed.
You better get that through your skull. You better get some through your abdomen, though. Got here.
You violated a school regulation.
At that moment, a chill ran down Makoto's spine. She's going to get killed. Monokuma's words sounded very threatening to him. It wasn't a prediction or a guess. It was as if he knew the danger Monokuma posed from the start. If this continues, Junko's going to... His mind still didn't fully grasp the situation floating in front of... Hey, Junko, move! By the time he realized he was about to remember something, he was already running for... What the... And Junko? The impact of his feet collided with the rhythm of his headache, setting his brain and his heart into a panic. No, she's different. She's...
Monokuma.
Okay. I only have one bout of Monokuma energy to do this, so I'll try to do Monokuma justice.
I invoke the mighty summon spell! Help! To me, godly spear, Ganyer!
Pretty sure that's how he did it. Alright, that sucked because my Monokuma wiggled beneath the girl's foot and let out a scream. Ah! The exact moment Makoto charged at her and screamed out too. Ah! Mukuro, watch out! Huh? The girl dressed as Junko in a shame of widened her eyes in shock. As if to evade charging Makoto, she jumped back with the agility unheard of an teenage high school girl. And then, right at that moment, countless spear pierced the spot where she had been standing in just a split second ago. All the students, including the girl, stared wide-eyed at the sudden turn of events. Spears, too many of them to count, and shot out at the blinding speed from mechanism installed on the floor and the walls of the gym. However, Makoto was unable to notice this. Huh? Why did I call Junko Mukuro? Mukuro? Oh, wow! That thought entered his mind. A sharp, sudden impact struck his head. No! Followed by an intense, deathly pain that ran down his spine and spread throughout his... Gosh dang it! No! Makoto got stabbed! Spears stabbed into his side, instantly tore his flesh to shreds and shot out his back, coating his blood and other bodily fluids. At that moment, the black fog that engulfed Makoto's mind was consumed by death itself, and his consciousness slowly faded. He remembered everything. Because of the electric jolt of the chemical compound from the escape button, because of that button he had found by chance, Makoto Naegi managed to escape. He escaped this hopeless game where he and his fellow students and the memories were stolen and he was forced to kill each other. Of course, that escape is also what led to him current life or death predicament. In the end, perhaps he only escaped from one's despair to fall into another. But at the same time, his actions of unintended consequences from one person, the girl living a false identity and as her beloved little sister, Junko Enoshima. Mukuro Ikosawa, the ultimate soldier and a member of ultimate despair. Her past, her future, perhaps even hope itself, were on the path to despair. What is this?
filled in diamond, empty diamond.
And so the curtains falls on Makoto. Is that? Okay, so Makoto's dead. Was it worth it? No. No. All right. From this point, the story is about a certain girl, a girl who's more pitiful than anyone else in the sealed-off academy. A new curtain, along with despair, now shall now rise. Okay, so we just killed Makoto. Now we're transferring to someone else's mind. Who is it this time? Huh? Time I certainly stopped for Mukuro Kusaba. Am I playing as her? That's cool. The entire reason why I think I put her low on tier list I made is because I didn't like her, but because there were way too little of her. This is awesome. Makoto's dead. That isn't awesome in the freaking slightest. But you know, freaking, it doesn't matter. This isn't real. This isn't real. It still hurts me to hear that Makoto's dead, but it isn't real. Time I certainly stopped for, okay, as if everyone around her had frozen perfectly still. In the past, she was known as the ultimate soldier. She had experienced this feeling before during her time with the mercenary group Fenrir. In situations where she was surrounded by hopeless number of enemies within the jungle or in desert ruin, the charging enemies seemed as though they were frozen in time, which allowed her to claim a decisive victory in all her battles. But this wasn't a battlefield, so why did this familiar sensation activate all once again? In order to understand what had happened, Mukuro slowly tried to assess the current situation from within this frozen world. Junko and Mukuro are both children of despair, but Junko Enoshima, the true ultimate despair, harbors a far deeper darkness within her. Though their last names are different, Mukuro is Junko's older sister, connected by the bonds of blood. She cooperated with Junko's hopeless plan and impersonated her under the pretense of participating in the killing game along with classmates. According to his plan, Mukuro was supposed to oppose Monokuma, who his sister was controlling, and be locked in a dungeon as punishment. Isolated from the others, she would be able to escape the dungeon and perform various acts intended to deprive the students of hope. Ooh, I see. That was the role she had been assigned, but actually she was gonna die. When Makoto succumbed to his headache, Junko ordered her to see if the shock had caused him to remember anything that could make him a liability. He woke up as she was trembling to him, and I cannot read. So she made small talk with him, but she didn't notice any change from his behavior. Until this point, she was certain that there shouldn't be any problems. Nothing could possibly go wrong. She stomped on Monokuma like his sister, ordering her to do as flawlessly spoke with lines of Tana memorized. Afterwards, she had to fall through the trap door into the dungeon and remain isolated from the other students. That was her role. She hadn't done anything wrong. There was no problems. There were no problems. She repeated to herself over and over like a silent prayer. But in the frozen moment in time, what she saw was not a trap door, but countless spears. One of them had skewed Makoto through his side. Why? Makoto, why are there spears? Ganya! I would have died if I hadn't moved. Did Junko mess up her plan? No, Junko would never mess up. Was she trying to kill me? Me? Makoto save me? Why? Because he's awesome! Why did he say my name? Did his memories come back? Did I not realize that? Did I make a mistake? Is that why Junko got angry? Is this punishment? Is it my fault? Junko tried to kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Kill me. Are we just gonna keep saying fraction sentences until the story progresses? Slowly, time came back to her world. Mukuro could feel her face turning pale as slowly looked toward Makoto. The students' scream ran throughout the gym. Sayaka was probably the first one to scream. But who screamed first doesn't matter to Mukuro. Makoto, why? Makoto was the ultimate lucky student. He had been her classmate for the past 2 years, and now he was a sacrifice to despair. Not long ago, he had given the answer during the conversation in the nurse's office, which gives rise to the actual ultimate hope. Freaking Yasuhiro Hagakure, the ultimate hope. Anyway, not long ago, he gave her answers of sorts during the conversation. I already read that. He was just a pawn in the plan her sister has devised, but now a feeling of doubt began forming in Mukuro's mind. What did I want from Makoto? As her heart churned relentlessly, she continued to think. In return, I promised I decided to kill someone. It won't be you. Was I impersonating Junko then? Or did I really mean that? When did I start feeling this doubt? Just now, the moment he saved me? Or when we spoke in the nurse's office earlier? Or was I first confronted by him about the killing game before his memories returned? Or was it even before that? Mukuro stood there confused and overwhelmed as Makoto slowly opened his eyes. The spear still impaling him to the side. Mukuro. Alright, we'll just die! Makoto. Yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine. He's completely. I mean, he's got a spear of Gungnir through his whole body. There was an object going through his biological capsule, but he is okay. He's awesome. He's Makoto. He can't die. Mukuro is no longer impersonating the ultimate fashionista. Looking up from the floor of the gym, Makoto asked, "Why are you dressed up like Junko?" He was smiling. Maybe he couldn't feel the pain anymore. Maybe he was being affected by something else. But regardless, Mukuro he was dying just to give Mukuro his warm smile. I'm glad you're safe, Mukuro." As soon as she heard Makoto's weak, fading voice, something inside Mukuro snapped. Oh! For in the shell of despair she had built up, an intense emotion began flowing out. No, this is all wrong. She couldn't hold back that emotion any longer. No, no! And for the first time in her entire life, Mukuro unleashed a scream into the world. As Mukuro fell to her knees and clutched her head, a small shadow started walking towards her back. The stuffed animal that had been under her foot, Monokuma. His claws were extended and she was no longer walking with his usual waddle. What? The Monokuma waddle is gone. That's the best one. Instead, he moved like a beast, silently stalking its prey, and he slowly advanced with his target's blind spot. As he inched closer to Mukuro, Monokuma raised his razor-sharp claws, crouched in his haunches, and suddenly leapt towards the back of her neck. However, just before his claws could reach the paralyzed Mukuro, a dark shadow moved in from the side and swatted those claws away. Yes! Yes, a hero! I got her! His lunge deflected. Monokuma was sent flying through the air, spinning wildly before Yeah, that's what you get! How dare you! Damn you, what are you trying to do? Sakura. Yeah! Sakura! Rami, the ultimate martial artist, had just prevented another tragedy. She stood before Monokuma and addressed him with a loud, booming voice. Not only did you attempt to kill Junko for violating school regulations, you even attacked Makoto, who has nothing to do with this. Plan to continue acting in such a savage manner. There is no reason for us to play your game. Byakuya Togami, the ultimate affluent prodigy, smirked contentedly at Sakura. Fool. One could say you're violated school regulations with your senseless actions. He looked as if he honestly did not care if his fellow students lived or died at all. What? That's just Byakuya, you know, that's normal. Not really much of a deviation there. Well, she merely... Who was talking? Well, she merely deflected the headmaster's attack just for now, so I do not think that he truly constitutes an act of violence. Like Byakuya, Celeste seemed unfazed by the shitty words. However, the banter between the two was enough to stir the stunned students to action. Makoto! Sayaka was the first one to run towards Makoto, who lay bleeding from his stomach. But Monokuma stopped her, shouting in a tone of voice that seemed completely out of character. Be careful! Don't get too close, those two! Huh? Started by Monokuma's desperate tone, Sayaka and the others stopped moving almost instinctively. The students looked around at each other. Instead of the usual playful gait, Monokuma walked towards them with deliberate, methodical steps. And then he suddenly blurted out something that took everyone, including Mukuro Ikosaba, by surprise. I'm sure you're probably confused by the Sun Ton events, but I want you guys to work together. As Monokuma slowly turned her head towards Monokuma, he pointed at her and yelled, Mukuro Ikosaba and her accomplice Makoto Nagi are the terrorists responsible for locking you all inside the academy. Hey, no, that's not true. Once again, time stopped for Mukuro, but this time she wasn't the only one affected. Everyone seemed to be frozen in shock. After a few seconds of silence, Aoi Asahina, the ultimate swimming pro, first, yeah! Huh? You're kidding. I mean, Makoto is a terrorist? That's impossible. Thank you! And who's Mukuro anyway? I mean, that's Junko. Monokuma began slowly explaining to Aoi. The real Junko must be in prison somewhere in the school. Worst case scenario, she might be killed. Mukuro must have researched which one of you would be easiest to impersonate and hit among you, all by preventing by her. She's probably trying to make the killing game went smoothly. Suddenly, Monokuma's hands and feet began jerking in an awkward motion. He looked up to the other students and introduced himself. What? What? I'm Basiki Mandare, the ultimate hacker. I'm your upperclassman. I hacked in the academy from the outside, and I was able to take control of Monokuma's body just a little while ago. Take control? From who? From the head of a terrorist organization that's controlling this robot from the outside. What? What are you saying, Junko? Mukuro trembled as she heard the words coming out of Monokuma's mouth. For a brief moment, she clung to hope that her sister wasn't trying to kill her, but as soon as that hope was born, it was immediately consumed by despair. This is neat! I love this! I mean, I don't like how Makoto's dead, and Mukuro's been framed by frickin' Junko, but whatever. No, not Junko, freaking whatever the hacker's name was. She would never let anyone hack her that easily. There was only one explanation. Junko Anashima was pretending to be someone named Besiki in order to frame Mukuro and Makoto. It was as if through Junko was using Mukuro's survival as a branching path to lead the students to different despair. Monokuma continued talking, telling the students more lies designed to prod them into action. On your first day out of the academy, you guys were exposed to sleeping gas, knocked unconscious, and taken hostage. Mukuro and Makoto are probably the operators who the terrorists sent inside the school. That means they probably know how to escape from here. And then, Monokuma turned to face Mukuro. Mukuro Ikosaba was a member of the mercenary group called Fenrir. She's a wanted
criminal who killed over 10 people associated with the school.
Okay, well, I mean, that's true. All that's true. But you could have phrased it a little nicely, Monokuma.
So don't get soft and think you can capture her alive. In fact, that's exactly what the cops told me. So the moment I saw an opening, I tried hacking the trap. They said to try to kill her. But
what about Makoto? Yeah! Monokuma gave a cold, emotional answer to Sayaka's question.
my guess is the measly little unlucky, ultimate lucky student didn't stand a chance to find the group like Fenrir.
Why'd I press the wrong button? I have one button to press this whole freaking thing and I messed it up.
He probably threatened for force to cooperate before you enter the school. Why, judging from his early actions, maybe Mukuro seduced him.
Sayaka's face went pale and she heard that answer and she immediately stopped talking. Mukuro raised her head and shouted, "You're wrong! Makoto isn't a terrorist! You'll have to believe me!" Yeah, that's gonna work. I mean, I love you, Mukuro, but I mean, it's Monokuma, okay? It's freaking Kuma. You can't go against her. And then, as if it was speaking to everyone there, Taka stepped forward and nervously asked, "Yes, Taka, my man! Hold on. What do you mean Makoto isn't a terrorist?" It's like you're saying that there's no doubt that you are, in fact, are a terrorist. I asked that you correct yourself at once and say, "We are not terrorists!" Celeste began expressing her own doubts as well. It is strange. Does it seem that she is protective of someone we just met a few days ago? Mukuro stood in silence. The other students' faces began to fill with suspicion and doubt. They realized they weren't looking at the real Junko Enoshima. Byakuya pushed his glasses up and began coldly pointing out which seemed out of place. I'm gonna sock this glasses wearing freaking dingus on the face. I heard that. No, you know what? Frick you, Byakuya. I'm gonna talk how I did you last time. I heard that I fooled Mukuro, who I was now must call you Mukuro instead of Junko. How Mukuro know your name if you were Mukuro? If it's made you that long ago. But that's... I've also heard... I was a fun bro. Continue to Byakuya. Oh, freaking A. Of course he did. I don't recall. It's where we tattoo someone on our body. Seemingly, Byakuya's words put Mukuro into a calm state of mind. In hostile situations, her defensive reflexes or the ultimate soldier often manifest themselves. Mukuro's tattoo was on the back of her right hand. She wondered how she could hide this from the other students without calling attention to it. But in the end, this concern was in vain. If the police were the truth, she should have a tattoo on the back of her right hand. As Monokuma freely divulged for information. Alright! Cried Taka, his voice filled with enthusiasm. Show us the back of your right hand and prove your innocence! See, it's nice to do voices like Taka and Byakuya because they don't
require me to go high like Monokuma.
I can only barely get Monokuma's a little bit. Which sucks! Monokuma disappeared. Monokuma disappeared, another unnecessary remark.
Make sure you look real close and cover it up with foundation.
Jungon ordered Mukuro to hide her tattoo with foundation, so Monokuma's information was entirely true. There's nothing Mukuro could do except stay quiet. However, she wasn't staying quiet because her identity was about to be exposed. She was struck by the realization that her sister was completely serious about pinning this on her. Why? Who is... Oh, I gotta read ahead before I really start talking to her. Like,
why the hesitation?
Oh, that's not... Why the hesitation? Shouted the foolishly honest Taka. As my classmate, I have complete faith in you. From behind him, Hifumi... Oh my Jesus Christ, can we kill this sucker already? Bonk him on that! Bonk him on his head again! From behind him, Hifumi Yamada, the ultimate fanfic creator, murmured to himself as cold sweat ran on cheek.
Well, look at it. I guess that's what they say. A checkmate, huh?
Oh, is this Mono? See, this has the language of Mono. Why don't you just fess up already, you effing... In contrast... Yep, I got it! In contrast to Hifumi, Mondo Awada, the ultimate biker gang leader, was royally pissed. However, there were some students who were busy questioning Monokuma instead of Mukuro. Hey, you're not coming to save us? Shouted Leon Kawada, the ultimate baseball star. You should hurry up and change in here already. Monokuma looked at Leon, shook his head soft. Hey, you're still alive, that's good.
The police can't help you right now. Not only are guys hostages, it's possible that the entire school has been enriched with explosives and poison gas. I hacked into this Monokuma robot to investigate that for myself.
Then what about everyone on the DVD? What about everyone outside the school? Asked Sayaka. The memory on the DVD she was supposed to watch yesterday still weighed heavily on her mind, but Monokuma didn't have a clear answer. Ah, there you go! Freaking... Oh... Sayaka, if Makoto was still alive right now, he wouldn't be too happy. I'm just saying.
I don't know anything about the DVDs. There are definitely terrorists causing havoc out there.
Yeah, that's a solid answer.
Law enforcement around the world are in shambles trying to deal with this.
That's impossible! Sayaka shuddered and collapsed to her knees. Sayaka! Next to Chihiro Fujiseki. Oh! I miss you! My program was not sure which two. Behind her, the boy and the girl. Silence. I'm never gonna let that go. The fact that I called that. The first was Toko Fukawa, the ultimate writing prodigy. Why did I forget she existed? She seemed to be trying hard not to look at Makoto as he lay bleeding. The other quiet girl who hadn't talked to herself was named Kyoko Kiwagiri. Yeah, your freaking boy just died. What do you have to say about that? Unlike Toko, Kyoko was watching everything intently as if she was studying the cinema. Come on, Kyoko. This is what you were made for. From Makoto's breathing pattern to sudden changes in Mukuro's facial expression, nothing was escaping her attention. Suddenly, Toko began nervously talking to Sakura. So anyway, let's just say this Mukuro woman and whoever over there is the terrorist. Hurry up and beat her to death. I'm gonna say this right now. Sakura, you're really cool. I don't know if you could take Mukuro. That's just me. We don't know that yet, said Sakura. My fists do not beat out justice based on simple speculation. Sakura tried to get near Makoto to examine his wounds, but Monokuma stood in her way, shouting, "Don't come any closer!" This meant that Mukuro was the only one who could get close to Makoto. She had ended countless lives on the battlefield. She knew from experience. If he didn't treat Makoto's wounds, he would help him, please! His wounds were not immediately fatal, but if he considered losing blood, he would entirely slip into shock and shortly die. Okay, he's still alive, so save him! Please, you need to treat Makoto first. Absolutely not. Byakuya harshly interrupted Mukuro, tying you up and examining the back of your right hand in the first place. God, can you kill this guy? Can this be the best if story ever and you just pop him between the eyes? Hey, Makoto's in danger! Now's not the time for that, said Aoi as she cast a worried glance at Makoto. She was still having trouble understanding the situation and hadn't decided if Makoto was suspicious or not. Byakuya was about to snap back at her, but Mukuro's action stunned him into silence. She took a deep breath. Punch him in the face! Mukuro moved the blonde wig from her. Yes! Where there were two long blonde pigtails only a moment before, and now short black hair. She cleared her face of all emotion, and when she spoke, her voice rang throughout the gym. I'm not Junko Enoshima. My name is Mukuro Ikusawa. The student stared wide-eyed at her open confession. All she did was remove her wig and clear her emotions, but in doing so, the person that the students had recognized as Junko Enoshima vanished from their sight. The terrorist that had taken her place continued to speak in a calm, stoic tone. Well, I mean, she is a terrorist, but she's the nice one. What? I helped lock everyone inside this academy. The confession and seaside cliff moment had finally arrived. Oh, confession and seaside cliff had done it. Even we blew it out. What? What wing is against the school regulations, Junko? I mean, Mukuro. As if stirring by their cries of excitement, the other students began clamoring among themselves. Huh? Said Yasuo. So Makoto's wounds are like real? Oh god, no, he's gonna relive it. He's gonna go through realizing it's real again. Does that stuff about terrorism and whatever it is all real too? So everything that's happening these past few days wasn't a bunch of staged events? Is it real? No, not Yasuhiro! The reality situation began dawning on Yasuhiro. All Leon could say of this was, shut the hell up! Hey! Shut up! You are lucky, Leon, to be alive. Do not yell at the best person. Byakuya just remained calm and addressed Mukuro in a condescending manner. What does your group want? Ever after money? You have already tried to negotiate with me. Nobody wants your stinking, stupid money, Four Eyes. Of course, rather let them die than to rearrange some disbands. Our purpose is to fill the world with despair. Byakuya scoffed at this notion and began to speak once again. I see. Monokuma Shamra, so I do what I feel with terrorism. It's true. If you did anything to me, you would certainly fill the world with despair, but obviously that would be impossible for you. Aoi couldn't believe that Byakuya was saying, oh, that's him. I am just mixing up all the voices, and frowned as she muttered, how self-centered can you be? Confirming that Byakuya had no more questions for her, Mukuro looked at Makoto, whose breathing had slowed, and let her voice show some emotion. But Makoto has nothing to do with this. You can't believe what Monokuma says. Whoa! What did you say? Shouted Mondo. I don't know what the hell you're talking about! You're a terrorist, just like Monokuma said! Mukuro looked away from Mondo and continued speaking. That's true, but Makoto isn't involved at all. Celeste coldly brushed her objective aside. I do not think you're trying to protect him. Will you do any good? After all, we all heard Makoto call you by your real name. That's... She had no words. There was nothing she could say to protect Makoto. Even though Makoto was truly innocent, though Makoto was Mukuro's the ultimate soldier, her powers had largely limited to battle. And even a normal high school student could outwit her when it comes to debate and negotiation. If she was the ultimate negotiator, she might be able to convince them that their memories had really been erased. But in the current situation, if she tried to bring up their memory loss, they would think it was a desperate excuse. Even Mukuro knew that. But even if she didn't know what to say, she still wouldn't knew what to do. Right now, we need to treat Makoto first. And then she started walking towards Makoto as if nothing had happened. To the others, it seemed like Mukuro had decided to abruptly change the subject. I gotta see who's talking to us. Hold it. We were merely to Makoto to the nurse of treatment. However, we must tie you up. Oh. Sakura. Okay, the Sakura's honest man. Thank you. Thank you. But there was no way Mukuro could accept it. If she was separated from Makoto, there'd be no telling what Monokuma would do to him. And between Mondo's hot temper and Byakuya's cold heart, Makoto could easily sustain from further injuries under pretense of interrogation. Furthermore, among these students, Mukuro knew that she was only the one who had experienced treating wounds due to her time with Fenrir. After mulling that over, she narrowed her eyes and went silent. Her mind was made up. She was determined to fight a way out of here and escape. Yes! Kill everyone! Oh, no. I apologize, but I need you to fall asleep right now. As she said that, Sakura instantly positioned herself behind Mukuro. She was completely within her blind spot. To a normal person, it would have seemed like Sakura had suddenly vanished. After moving faster than any human being could see, Sakura's equally fast hands launched a blow towards the back of Mukuro. No! However, sorry, Sakura, but I need to get out of here! Mukuro parried. Yes! I love you, Sakura, but frick you right now! First with a spinning roundhouse kick. Sakura raised her eyebrow at the unexpected counterattack. Mukuro tried to use the momentum of her kick to sweep Sakura's feet from underneath her. However, Sakura dodged was instinctively struck back against Mukuro's pivot leg. But Mukuro was faster and jumped up, aiming a tornado kick at Sakura's chin. Sakura deflected the attack with one arm, and then both combatants leapt backwards, glared at charge simultaneously. Yes! It's awesome! Every blow they dealt was parried and countered by the other, and though they were both unarmed, the sound of their battle echoed throughout the gym. It would sound like a typhoon had been compressed to the size of a car set loose inside the gym. The other students were powerless to stop them, and all they could do was stare at the breathtaking dance of death upon. What's wrong, Mondo? Ain't got no punches, sucker! After 10 minutes had passed, the enormous sound of one final impact ran throughout the gym. The two boys leapt back once again, and breathing heavily, they stared each other down. I don't know who this is. My mistake. Though it's only been a few days, I can't believe I did not notice such an impressive fighter was hiding among us. In addition to the surprise Sakura felt, it was a battle that left her energized. Mukuro, on the other hand, looked down at her arm, confirmed it had been wounded during the battle, and thought to herself, she's strong. I don't think Sakura is even taking this seriously right now. Despite her being constantly surrounded by firearms, blades, traps, and explosives during her time with Fenrir, this was the one time she had ever been wounded. Mukuro was powerless for the might of the woman known as the ultimate martial artist and the strongest woman in the world. Just as I thought, I can't beat Sakura with my bare hands alone. If she had been directly ordered to kill Sakura, Mukuro would have opted to either snipe her from a distance or poison her. At this close range, she would need an assault rifle just to stand a fighting... Just to stand a chance? Oh, Sakura! Freaking king. Queen. Same thing. Hey, it doesn't... both. Alright? Equality. I don't have time for this. She looked at Makoto and confirmed that his breathing had grown even shallower. I need to hurry. But at that moment, she had no one to turn to for help. Suddenly, Mukuro had an idea. If it was true that gaining an ally in this situation was possible, how she could still turn one person into her enemy's enemy. Mukuro took a deep breath before and charged Sakura. Then she immediately fainted and charged at a different girl. Oh! Toko had been cowering in fear from the gym between Sakura and Mukuro corner room. This is bad! Sakura was caught off guard and tried to run after her, but Mukuro was one step back. Yes! Punch her! In the face! What do I mean? Because you're creepy? I'm sorry. Wait, hold on. Mukuro jabbed Toko on her solar... Jesus. She fell into her arms and Taka and Aoi yelled out in shock. This is bad! She used Toko as a hostage! Taka! And the contrast of the shocked faces, Byakuya snickered and coldly remarked, You fool. You should take someone much food that calls a hostage. Mukuro just softly glanced at Byakuya and replied, You didn't meet her a few days ago. What did you say? You met her 2 years ago! Byakuya scowled because he's a freaking idiot and doesn't know freaking anything. Mukuro ignored him and held her blood. He didn't recognize the dumbbell! Still not letting that go, loser! Second trial, the dumbbell was on the ground. I was like, hey, what is this? It's a dumbbell covered in blood, you four-eyes loser! Maybe take your head out, you dingus, and look at the freaking dumbbell! God, I hate Byakuya. Moving on. Byakuya scowled. Mukuro ignored him and held her bloody arm in front of Toko's face. And then she yelled into her ears, Wake up, Genocide Jack! Seemed no random was in a place. Why did Mukuro mention the name of a notorious serial killer right now? Students looked at each other in confusion when suddenly, Toko, who had been groaning in pain, suddenly kicked off the floor in the gym in renewed vigor. Yeah! She leapt into the air as much higher than any normal human could have been able to. While hovering several meters in midair, Toko twirled faster than a professional figure skater. This caused her skirt to flutter, revealing multiple pairs of sparklings. Okay, I thought it was going to a creepy place. I'm glad it didn't. Countless tally marks were scratched into her legs, and a kill count carved with a jet fighter. If not the situation, Toko's glamorous jumps and spins would have been sights to behold. The girl formerly known as Toko Fakura cackled wildly. Her red eyes sparkled as her absurdly long tongue flopped out of her mouth. Alright, visual descriptions, let's go. You called for me, and so I appear. I've got a murder IOU for YOU. To Toko, the situation had changed so drastically that even Sayaka, who was silent till now, spoke up. Hey, you flash in the pan. What? Hey, you flash in the pan. Well, maybe my sickness could fit. Maybe this could work out. Don't treat Genocide Jack like that depressing little Yes! Who is she saying 4 eyes to? Oh, she's talking about herself. I'm gonna boycott this and say she's talking about Biaku. That dirty girl doesn't bathe herself at all, so I'm gonna put 5 times in the effort to rub myself down in the shower. Eek! Toko's suddenly changed personality sent the students clamoring among themselves. Hey! Leon yelled. What the hell does that mean? Monokuma just shook his head.
There are some things even I don't understand.
Students continued to panic, a strange turn. They called us to this gym, and so much has happened. Toko, now calling herself Genocide Jack, took out a set of scissors from under her skirt and snipped them with glee as she looked around the gym. Huh? Man, it's been a while since I got to stretch my legs. So what are you guys gonna do with the gym here when I snoozed away? Have an orgy? Oh my Jesus Christ. There it is! There it is! I understand. I totally understand. You guys need to cut off your clothes so I can view your nadia. Yeah, right. Why the hell would I even do that for you, Tim? My scissors are only meant for cutting the supple tender flesh of adorable boys. Genocide Jack was causing a ruckus, but when she saw Makoto laying on the floor, she tilted her head once again. Huh? Big Mac, you're like totally about to die. What's the big deal? Did the Lord fill you up with so much despair that you came here to commit mass suicide? That's so hot. Why are you staring at me? To Toko, cried Aoi. Get a hold of yourself. Genocide Jack ignored Aoi and let her emotions run unchecked, jumping and dancing with excitement as she held her scissors. Ah, jeez, I want to stab Big Mac's side myself. This spot right here. Well, the ribs are kind of shown already. He's not even screaming right now, though. What does this mean? Oh, well, maybe we can use this feeling of alienation instead. I have no idea what's going on anymore, shouted. Oh, no. I have no idea what's going on anymore, man. So that's you. It's all the aliens' fault. Yeah, the aliens that stole his hamburger. I haven't forgot that. I got your back. CEO buried his head into his arms, but no one was paying. No! Well, you're taking a full minute to acknowledge Yasuhiro. Talk about Yasuhiro, right? Yasuhiro has the best hair. He has the best build. That man is 22, and the second he gets out of here, he's got like assault charges to deal with, if I remember correctly. He had to deal with the loss of his hamburger to aliens, and he revealed that it wasn't 100% beef because they sent him back down because they only kidnapped cows, and his hamburger didn't go all the way up because it wasn't 100% beef, which was his point in the last game. He's talking about cryptids. He's talking about this one like dope monster thing that flew around a lot. He's the freaking coolest. He's the funniest. He's the most important. A lot of people put him at like the bottom of a tier list and say like if they took him out, he wouldn't matter at all. Frick you, you're wrong, because he made the biggest impact to the game. He was the Yasuhiro of the game, which is the best character of the game. There was no Yasuhiro in the second game, which makes the first game instantly better because the first game had Yasuhiro and the second game did not have Yasuhiro. And Yasuhiro is the freaking best. If you disagree with me, I love you. I love you. And I respect your opinion. That's just mine. Moving on. Students' attention was entirely focused on Genocide Jack. Using that to her advantage, Mukuro began sneaking over to Makoto. As she constantly picked him up, she confirmed that his body temperature was starting to decrease. No! I can still make it there in time. While she was carrying another person, Mukuro managed to soften the sound of her footsteps as she ran into the gym's doors. By the time the students heard Mukuro open the door, it was already too late. She had managed to escape the gym with Makoto. Yes! However, not everyone was unaware of what Mukuro was doing. Monokuma saw her movements on the corner of his eye, but chose not to tell the students. And one other person, Kyoko Kira. Yes! She saw Mukuro carry Makoto away, but did not inform the other students. She watched him leave in silence. As everyone wrestled with their own personal thoughts and speculations, Hopes the Academy began walking a path towards a completely different chaos. This is awesome! I mean, I love the despair of the last game, but chaos is the best. With Makoto on her back, Mukuro took several trophies from the gym entrance hall and my friend is dying, but the freaking loser from second grade, they thought they could beat me in bowling? Well, I disagree. This baby's coming with me. Oh, she jammed the trophies through the door handles, though Sakura could easily destroy them with these makeshift locks. They could buy Mukuro in a few extra seconds. Then Mukuro started running to the nurse's office. Okay. The place she had last spoke to Makoto. Everything necessarily forming first aid that could be found there. Her little sister was her enemy. Her fellow ultimate students were her enemy. Her only ally right now is Makoto, and it was on the verge of... This is so cool! I prefer this over the actual first game. Okay. Mukuro knew that she wasn't even his own ally right now. Amidst the chaos, amidst her sister's betrayal, she had nearly been killed. She believed she was the only one who truly understood her little sister. That's why she felt like she had to protect her. That's right. You didn't do anything wrong, Junko. You just wanted to feel despair. That's all. Right? Because you love me. That's why you wanted to kill me. You were just trying to feel despair. This is a healthy family dynamic. I'm sorry I failed to bring you despair. At the same time, she wondered if roll credits, if she saves Makoto and betrays her sister by disrupting her plan, wouldn't that fill her with an even stronger despair? Wouldn't that make her feel happy? But betray Junko. What should I do? Whatever saves Makoto at this point. Makoto closed her eyes and listened to Makoto's weak breaths. What should I do, Makoto? I'll take a Big Mac. Like, Makoto, Jesus. On the battlefield where all you need to do is kill and survive, Mukuro was invincible. She could surpass all her emotions and fully immerse herself in becoming a perfect killing machine. But on this twisted battlefield of daily high school life, she could no longer keep her emotions in check, especially around her little sister. Mukuro, the ultimate soldier, was beginning to question being the ultimate despair. The impulses of a normal high school girl inside her was starting to affect her state of mind. Even so, the poor girl continued to run through the dark hallways, clinging to the conflict within herself. She was now walking along a Sorry, I had to get that out. Here, thin path. A path between the hope of Makoto Naegi and the despair of Junko and Oshima. I love this. Why have I never heard of this before? Meanwhile, everyone was still in the gym, left in a state of complete confusion. Toko was famous for being prolific actor, but even though she came across an unsociable and depressing, her mind-blowing transformation seemed to have just tossed all that aside. Toko is Genocide Jack? Sayaka trembled with fear as Jack tilted her head and stuck out a long tongue. Huh? What's with the reception, you guys? You guys didn't know who I was? Have I been found out? Or have you known all along? And why was sullen samurai dressed like that? That doesn't look good on her at all. The sullen samurai was probably referring to Mukuro. Which means Toko already knew Mukuro in advance. Confronted by her shocking truth, the students had no idea to begin talking. So many things were clearly wrong by this point. But there were a few students such as Byakuya and Kyoko who opted to remain calm and reserve the situation. I hope Byakuya dies. I hope he does. Why couldn't it be Byakuya, not Makoto? Alright, someone better spill it. Who gave Makoto an extra mouth to feed? I don't care if you want to stab him or slice him. Just can't forgive whoever put that ugly hole in a Big Mac side. Toko, no, Genocide Jack spun her scissors in her hands. As she spoke, her emotions and facial expressions constantly changed. Even without the threat of a scissors, she exuded an aura of danger that made her unapproachable. The flank steak of a young boy in like a macaroon's eyes, like a bluebird that pops out a golden egg. If you would have let me handle it, I would have killed him so good that even would even heal to die. Don't know who they are, probably mispronounced the names. Actually, I know why they did. But boy, my soul, heart and soul have been stomped on by such a sloppy kill. Shut up. That just sounds pretty exciting too. But I decline. To Toko, you're not making any sense, screamed Aoi. Wonder what has happened to you? This is Jack answered her point by pointing her scissors at Aoi. What happened to me? I got bored, that's what. That sourpuss locked me up days ago. When she was unconscious, I thought I'd finally get to do my thing. I woke up after all this. My cuties are soaked with blood and I got no clue what's going on. It's so damn confusing. All I can do is laugh. No one seemed to well, I think that laugh actually sounded pretty okay for Genocide Jack. Was able to get a straight answer out of Jack, so Fumi made a timid remark. Jesus Christ, of course he is. I dealt with quiz girls and 2D dating games, but it doesn't even compare. Like, dudes and SSS difficulty, you know, it's clear. I can't believe you didn't think about that since someone was saying a clearing moment on. It was clear that things were gonna get nowhere. And as if she was responding to everyone. Oh, he's not even talking. Sakura stepped forward. She might be the throes of confusion. She will try to restrain her for now. As soon as she heard that Genocide Jack overpowered you once before, Sakura, I wouldn't try it again. Stopped moving, stuck out her lizard-like tongue and grinned wickedly. Oh, what's up? Are you really going to fight me, Battle Ogre? There it is again. Too bad.
I love these scissors all for cutting through adorable boys. Women should just stay home. I won't take my scissors with your filthy blood. Hey, I feel special.
Replied Sakura. It seems my words are useless on you. Sakura entered a fighter stance, determined to restrain Jack, but Jack knew she couldn't win in a fair fight, and adopted a strange stance of her own. In a normal fight, Jack would obviously lose to the ogre. Come on, game. Sakura's nice. If Jack focused on dodging attacks, the outcome of the fight would be hard to foresee. Of course, Genocide Jack's physical abilities were only obvious to a few in the students in the first place. The two women exchanged hostile stares to each other, and students just go through. Alright, so Sakura's just gonna start beating the crap out of everyone. Who's next? Byakuya, please! Except for one person. Kyoko was watching something else. She was watching Monokuma, who was in the corner of the gym, unmoving as white noise emitted from his speakers. He had stopped moving the moment everyone's focused on Sakura and Toko. Does that mean that Junko is going to go in person to the nurse's office and kill her? First of all, that Monterey's hacking had been disrupted. Oh god, it's not. He's not real! She's not real! I forgot what gender it was. Doesn't matter. An infinite number of the possibilities were also swirling around in Kyoko's mind. She brushed back her hair with a gloved hand and continued to watch. Though she couldn't fully remember her talent, by the action she was taking right now was fueled by pure instinct. The strange situation that kept occurring in front of her was shaking her to the very core. Her mind worked diligently to scoop up countless amounts of information in a vast sea of memories. And as they were synchronizing with the synapses firing in her brain, Sakura and Toko kicked off the ground at the same time, and intense impact rang throughout the gym. Would you like to see a battle between a battle ogre and a scissor-using murderer? Too bad! We're going back to Days of Our Lives, starring Eminem, the freaking bloody trio of frick you. I don't know why I said trio. It's a freaking two people. God, I'm not only losing my voice, I am losing my mind. Well, that's a lie. You can't lose something you already lost. Anyway, thanks to the heated battle that was unfolding in the gymnasium, Mukuro Ikusawa was able to buy more time than she had imagined. Yes! As soon as she entered the nurse's office, she'd rummaged around the medical supplies and did what she could to stop the bleeding. Best character again. Sorry, as hero, new best character. Though still quite shallow, Makoto's breathing slowly stabilized. Mukuro let out a sigh of relief. However, even though she was somehow able to stop the bleeding, she wasn't out of the woods yet. Miraculously enough, it seemed like none of Makoto's major arteries or organs were damaged. Yup! Ultimate luck, sucker! Was this perhaps thanks to the ultimate luck? Nah, it was just poor planning by Monokuma. That's a joke, because Monokuma never has bad planning. Because he's the best. After all, the only sort of medical treatment he could hope for was partially at best. Mukuro couldn't decide. If only I could do a blood transfusion. The nurse's office should have several blood packs for transfusions. Mukuro suspected that Makoto's blood type might be written on the e-handbook. He reached over to search his pockets.
Haha, I see you reaching for Sleeping Boy's clothes. Wonder what is happening next. Adults can keep playing, but you kids better press the B button, okay? Pooh, yeah.
Huh? Knew it! Called it! Knew it! Mukuro turned towards the familiar voice and saw
Monokuma staring behind her. You're all alone on Makoto right now. Just think of what the cute wild animal and let you just lead the way.
What?
As the headmaster, I must present any include of sexual relationships. But physical education classes are just fine, Missy.
Though he looked like the one that was just in the gym, it was clearly a different Monokuma. Multiple Monokumas have been placed throughout the entire academy, so it was a stretch for him to suddenly appear out of nowhere. Regardless, the same person was controlling all by... The weird thing is that I can barely speak as a functioning human of society. But I can read super fast. If I talk as fast as I read, I'll probably get everything out. But then I would go everything fast. Here, let me show what I mean. Mukuro had been aware of Monokuma attacking her while she was treating Makoto's wounds, but his appearance at the particular moment seemed to take her by surprise. Junko? Asked Mukuro cautiously. Monokuma tilted his head along with the entire upper body inquisitively. Junko? Who's that? Junko?
I've heard of that country before.
See? No more jokes. Answer me, Junko. See? I told you. It's when I talk slowly, that's when I'm like, they were planning to bake a banana butter pie. What the hell are you talking about, Weegee?
You plan to kill me later earlier, right? Don't go this, don't go that. What's your problem? I'm telling you, I'm Monokuma.
This is the real Monokuma.
It must be a big disappointment he can't even remember something like that. Not just a disappointment as a person, he is more disappointment as sister too. You're too skinny. Your brain is nothing but muscles. You're just personally unbearable.
I'm sorry, said Mukuro. She needed to apologize, but hearing her little sister call her a disappointment yet again was enough to make the Ultimate Soldier League. God, if someone doesn't kill her in the face, I swear to God, if she returns in the next 2 games, can we just have Monokuma? Junko's a crazy character. That makes her fun, but... I'll never be Monokuma. You are nothing but dirt beneath his bare feet! Alright. Like the Ultimate Soldier recoil. Monokuma ignored her in his current situation, climbed on top of Makoto's barely breathing body and began poking his cheeks.
So, what are you gonna do with Makoto now? I'm interested in human eating habits, you know?
What have you done, second game? What have you done to trigger Happy Havoc? Stuff like this was brought up only once. Only once. Only freaking once. What are you? Asked Mukuro before trailing off. Monokuma lowered his tone and began whispering into her ear. Makoto is a pretty nice guy, huh?
He would sacrifice himself to save you. He's so generous and actually hopeless, poo.
He's not dead yet, insisted Mukuro. That's unfortunately I cannot do my normal Monokuma voice as I've listed 8,000 times already. So I'm gonna do that for why not? Despite her firm tone, she couldn't hide the fear lingering in her voice.
That's the most disappointing thing about you. Don't even say, I won't let him die. I won't let him die, you go.
Mukuro could barely get a word in as Monokuma erupted in a poohs and continued to torment her.
As if you're too bad. Too bad. No regrets, see you tomorrow. It's all because Makoto was the first person to smile at you. You, a disappointing, depressing, unladylike inhuman killing machine. Despite being denied there was a Junko, Monokuma began laughing at
length as Mukuro's passed. This contradiction was very like Junko, and Mukuro was so shaken by all she could do was watch the bear prattle on and on.
Only the fit to survive in this world. The only thing that kind-hearted people can do is die, you know? That's proof. You're gonna watch Makoto die really soon.
Boo-hoo-hoo. He won't die. Mukuro's tone of voice had become an irregular even since he took off her Junko wig. Aside from her conversation with Makoto, everything she said Junko was from a script that her sister had written. But now, there was no script for Mukuro to rely on anymore. Mukuro was treating Monokuma like she would treat her own sister. If the other students saw her acting so weak, they never believed she was the same person who fought Sakura in the gym. And not just that, if everyone from her mercenary past could see her now, her stark change in attitude might make them think she was someone else entirely. Monokuma continued to rail against Mukuro. Mukuro, kill the bear.
Nope, he's gonna die. I know it's sad. I don't have to face facts.
Monokuma wriggled his limbs and danced around and pointed right at Mukuro's face.
Because Makoto was going to die by your hands.
Huh?
In fighting among the terrorists. The big bad terrorists shaking the weak-willed Makoto before he can leak any information. Doesn't that happen all the time? In the end, all the desperate things you could say in the gym turned out to be lies. You're just told to escape.
Mukuro frowned at Monokuma. You can't do that, Junko. I won't let you do that. She blurted out those words with a trembling voice. Mukuro was gripped by confusion about what she had just said. Am I denying Junko? Yes! Please! Why? Because you're awesome? She ain't. It was a strange feeling. To Mukuro, it was like she was standing on the ledge of a tire. This is the absolute worst audio read-through of this thing in the known universe. Of a tall building! I said trail instead of tall building. And imagine what would happen if she jumped. A destructive feeling, akin to holding a friend's baby and wondering what would happen if you tripped and fell. Yeah, I feel that all the time. Totally, yeah. That's not a weird feeling at all. For she knew fear and anxiety had suddenly taken control of Mukuro's heart. As a member of Fenrir, as the ultimate despair, Mukuro had killed innumerable people. She had handled live grenades before. She had descended from the sky in a parachute as anti-aircraft weaponry fired all around her. Her heart never wavered on the battlefield, but now it felt like she could collapse at any second. Monokuma, however, was as stable as a tree and slightly tilted his head to the side.
Huh? Were you listening to my story? Not the one who's gonna kill Makoto? You are!
What are you saying, Jugo? Monokuma began giving a strange explanation to a very confused Mukuro.
Do you know what a suspicion bridge event really means? It means you push the person you love off a bridge, they'll be yours for eternity.
I haven't heard that at all.
Life doesn't always follow your textbooks say. It's sad, but that's what love is.
His word made no sense, and Mukuro couldn't think of anything to say, stood there dumbfounded. Meanwhile, Monokuma continued his little speech, intentionally saying things meant to antagonize Mukuro.
Basically, this is your big chance, you know? If you kill Makoto right here and now, nobody will ever take him away from you again.
Makoto Naegi,
dead by dawn. The last name he ever spoke was Mukuro Ikosawa. Last person he ever smiled at was Mukuro Ikosawa. Doesn't that sound wonderful? There was a certain appeal to Monokuma's twisted suggestion, and Mukuro found herself unsure of her own judgment. Is this wrong? It is! Makoto! Sock Monokuma in the face. He's dancing on you. He's literally dancing on your grave. But it's really Junko saying all this, so doesn't that mean it's right? No, this isn't Junko. It's Monokuma. Monokuma. That was my favorite line in the whole thing. It's just Monokuma. And are you sure you want to help Makoto? Once he gets better, he's gonna know everything. You know what you did to your classmates. I can't believe you actually erased your friends' memories at the time together to force them to kill each other. Makoto might be mad at you and say, our real enemy isn't the bear, it's her. Do you really want to blame for this? Mukuro's face turned pale. Oh, you're going to kill the others. If everyone except you, Makoto, dies, you'll be able to spend the rest of your school life together. We can't hold a class trial for only 2 people. It might be a good idea for you both to live the rest of your lives in this academy forever. No, that's wrong. And what are you gonna do if this moment memories return? It's not like you were dating Makoto or anything. You're just watching him from afar the whole time. Man, he's so shy. You can really shoot people's hearts and brains with no problem. But you can't even woo some stupid boy into liking you. Do you really know who Makoto had a crush on before his memory was taken away? Mukuro's trembled as Monokuma continued pressing the issue, gradually loosening the screws, keeping his heart secure. Did she have a crush on him? I mean, you go, Makoto. Freaking... You go, man. So Mukuro chose to pretend she didn't hear anything at all. All emotion vanished from her face, and she looked silently at Makoto's e-handbook. Looking for a blood type. It's not written on the e-handbook. Mukuro's face turned pale within 5 seconds. Her plan to ignore Monokuma had already failed. But... since your headmaster is made up of 50% kindness, I'll tell you anyway. Yay! Makoto's blood type is B! As soon as she heard him say that, all the anxiety, horror, hostility, malice, and dead churning within Mukuro had completely vanished. Thank you, Junko! Mukuro's eyes sparkled with a hint of suspicion, so she turned her back to Monokuma without a hint of suspicion. Thank you, Monokuma! And walked towards the refrigerator containing the blood packets. Fresh blood packs shouldn't be prepared before the plant took. I like the happy music now. Yay, yay, Makoto's losing blood with a spear through his freaking body. It's gotten years, so it's okay, but... The last of the code storage for 21 days, but this shouldn't be too good. Despite her emotionless face, Mukuro let herself have a small bit of satisfaction as she took a blood pack from the refrigerator. As Monokuma watched her, his normally emotionless eyes twitched ever so slightly. If a third party could see his face right now, or even if the other students could see his face right now, they'd wonder, is Monokuma surprised? That's right, they have the same shocked look on their face if they were seeing Monokuma for the first time. At that moment, a whisper crept out of Monokuma's emotionless face. Don't freaking ruin it. There should be a limit to how disappointing you can be. It was far quieter than the mosquito's wings. Even with her battle-hardened earring, Mukuro couldn't hear what he said. Monokuma shook his head and the voice returned to normal. I don't care about you. Not despair has opened anything. I don't expect you much for you to begin with. So this make me feel despair. Seriously, you didn't disappoint me. So you know, despair and disappointment are completely different things, okay? They're so different bears and feathers. What are you?
Mukuro's body started to shake as she turned into... Yes! Kill him! He hadn't started talking any differently than usual. Junko hadn't turned off the voice modulator and started talking with a real voice or anything. And yet, Mukuro was utterly terrified. She wasn't terrified on instinct, not as a soldier. Half the reason she was terrified was because of her instincts as the ultimate despair. And the other half was because she was Junko's older sister. Even though Monokuma, her instincts were telling her to hear that Junko was annoyed with her. Junko? Why are you annoyed? Is it because I betrayed you? Or is it because I didn't die like you want me to? So Monokuma.
I'm beyond annoyed. I'm really, really angry right now. I'm really, really disappointed right now. I'm so pissed I could take a rage death right now.
Monokuma's anger didn't seem any different from his usual anger towards the students, but Mukuro could instinctively sense another emotion mixed with it. Right now, she could feel that Junko was feeling hopeless to... Is that good? Is that bad? As long as she feels bad, I'm good. I just don't know if that's good or bad. It's known for someone to be disappointed to lose hope. For the ultimate despair, disappointment means something else entirely. To them, disappointment was a tantamount for losing despair itself. Mukuro was a member of the ultimate despair, and her sister's behest, Mukuro had soiled her hands many times in order to fill the world with despair. Despite her pride towards being a member of the ultimate despair, there was a clear difference between Mukuro and her sister. Junko Nishima was despair incarnate. She was born in despair, letting it affect others, people's hopes, so it could rot from the inside out, twisting out to their own image. For Junko, feeling hope was its own despair, creating despair from others' despair and herself, which caused her to feel both intense pain and intense bliss. Junko had walked the I hope I'm not ruining this for anyone. Oh god, I'm never gonna be able. I've been thinking for a while of starting like a creepypasta thing where I just read creepypastas. But if this is any insective, no, thank you. Insective. First of all, I didn't even say the word I wanted to say correct, and second of all, the word I wanted to say wouldn't fit in any way whatsoever. It's my instinctive that's stopping me. What the hell does that mean, me? It's conflict between pleasure and penance of all her life. Eventually, the fracture word widened until it swallowed the world and tore it in half. But Mukuro, on the other hand, had never hope nor despair for the world. At least, now she was a member of Fenrir. Ever since she was a child, Mukuro believed she was meant to spread despair because of her sister. She didn't harbor any ill towards the world. She simply accepted that she was meant to spread despair and chose to walk the same path as her sister. The doubt she felt was only a recent development when Junko told her about the plan. When she watched the world burn at the hands of the terrorists wearing Monokuma masks, best mask by the way, she never wavered once. However, as soon as she heard about her sister's plan to make their classmates kill each other, Makoto included, a strange feeling began to stir within her. What started as a seed of doubt soon grew into a thorny vine ensnaring Mukuro's feet. As soon as she disguised herself as Junko and finished meeting the other students, as soon as she confirmed that everyone's memories had been completely taken away, that vine had been tightening around Mukuro's heart. They're gone. Junko, the only one who knows about me now. That's it. But that's no problem. It's just like old times. Things will never go back to how way they used to be. But that's fine. This should be fine. She had relinquished the past 2 years she had spent with her friends so she could betray them and deliver death with despair onto them. Though her heart ached, Mukuro was beyond feeling guilt or remorse for her actions. But the question, why does my heart ache like this, still remained unanswered. Perhaps that's why she spent so much time talking to Makoto when he was in the nurse's office. And when Makoto gave her that one particular answer, something changed inside her. In return, I promise I do not decide to kill someone. It won't be you. The words Mukuro blurted out to Makoto were improvised to further her role as Junko. It was an honest sentiment from the bottom of her heart. She was even planning to ask Junko herself if Makoto could somehow be spared of her plan. Over the past 2 years, Mukuro's interest had been slowly shifting away from her sister and towards the world itself. By extension, her interest also included Makoto, the first person to ever smile at her and make her feel connected to the world. He was like a sapling of pure honesty that had taken root from Mukuro's heart. But by the time she realized that, the tree had already rotted. As Mukuro struggled to understand the situation, Monokuma let out a sigh and said,
I wonder which part of you is the wolf anyway. You're just a dog that blindly follows Junko's orders. What does that tattoo on your hand even mean? Are you just a... who pledged your loyalty to her honor? I bet Toko would say that. Positive.
Monokuma continued to talk as Mukuro stood in confusion.
I was obviously lying when I said Makoto's blood type is B.
What? Cried Mukuro. You lied!
Junko. I know I'm a person would have been suspicious. I never thought you'd actually believe me just now. I must have misplaced my eyes because I totally did not see that coming. Not even with my ability to protect the future. That was shocking. Jeez, I was crying my eyes out like some sort of robot cat. Seriously.
It's going to be okay, Junko, said Mukuro. I know our plan kind of fell apart, but I'm still on your side. Are you feeling alright? Because I'll do anything. Snap! A sound came from Monokuma's mouth.
That sound was when my circuits overloading. It's been so long since I felt this angry. Meet me on the roof of the school. I'll smash out all your baby teeth.
Monokuma started shadow boxing in front of Mukuro, enforcing his face, clutching a blood pack in her hand.
Can't catch me, Mukuro.
She still looked confused, and Monokuma threw his arms up in frustration.
You're so disappointing! Can't even predict it anymore! That's ending roar!
Burst from Monokuma's mouth as he leapt at Mukuro with his sharp claws extended. At that moment, her face became completely emotionless. It was not a conscious action. That defensive instinct she was holding towards the time with Fenrir temporarily suppressed her emotions as she countered Monokuma's attack. Yes! Mukuro grabbed a nearby IV stand and used to parry Monokuma's claws and stabbed it through his eyes! However, Monokuma's claws seemed to be made with a special alloy that easily sliced the board half diagonally. But instead of following up with the attack, Monokuma continued talking to Mukuro.
I guess you're not so much of a disappointment when it comes to fighting. In fact, you were so pathetic you would have died from that single attack. Wouldn't have been interested in that one way. But right now, you're just incompetent at anything.
I'm sorry, said Mukuro. I couldn't help blocking your attack, but there's no way I can fight you, Junko. After all, I'm all you have. I'm the only one that understands you at all. Mukuro's words were riddled with endless dismay. The contrast between her usually stoic self and the way she acted now was so stark, people might assume she had multiple personalities. However, Monokuma just quietly stared at her. It was perfectly still, as if all function had been pulled down completely. But Mukuro continued to share her feelings. There's no way I can leave you alone! And then, Monokuma broke his silence, but... At that moment, a monitor in the nurse's office lit up displaying a girl's face, Junko Enoshima. At the same time, a voice completely alike Monokuma's began to play from the speakers. Hey, Mukuro! It's Junko! It's been several days since Mukuro had heard her sister's real voice, though her face remained emotionless. Excitement sparkled in her eyes. However, that shine immediately dulled. I'm grateful to you, Mukuro. I mean it. Junko's voice emitting from the speaker sounded very gentle and kind. Junko? I'm really sorry. I said so many mean things to you. I even tried to kill you earlier, and I was about to make you do something horrible just now. Even though I know about your feelings toward Makoto, I don't. You don't have to voice yourself. Even though you didn't notice, I was totally obvious to anyone looking at you. You never cared about the class photos, but when Makoto said he was going to take one, you made sure you were facing the camera. And then Junko Enoshima, the ultimate despair, flashed a smile, a pure sweet smile. On the monitor, she looked like a normal high school girl teasing her older sister, and yet Mukuro could feel despair and anxiety encasing themselves around her. I always thought I should have tried hard to take pictures with Makoto, but I guess that's what makes you so disappointing. Still, even though you're disappointing and annoyed, I still love you. Mukuro trembled upon hearing those words. I love you. That's all she wanted to hear her sister say. Mukuro believed, no matter what Junko said, she believed she really loved her. She believed she was the only one who could truly understand the despair known as Junko Enoshima. She was naive. As soon as she heard Junko say, I love you, Mukuro realized she never completely understood her sister. It was only at this moment that Mukuro finally understood her sister's feelings. Junko's words right now were kind. Perhaps that kindness was completely honest. The words, I love you, might have been true as well. However, for Junko Enoshima, this was a way of saying goodbye. She was severing the ties between them. It was painfully clear to Mukuro. And then, before she could even say anything, the girl on the monitor made a remark that cut Mukuro to the bone. I'm sure someday you'll make your dreams come true. Ultimate despairs never talk to each other like this. A simple truth stabbed into Mukuro's heart. Junko had no further use for her. Her own sister was parting ways with her. Mukuro had decided that over the 10 years of his life that caused the ultimate despair, and at this moment it all counted for nothing. But those years no longer mattered to Mukuro. Her sister's rejection was more than enough to send her in the depths of despair. That's why Mukuro, even now, clung to a small sliver of hope. Meanwhile, Junko was still on the monitor. Yeah, right. Did you really think I'd say something that nice? You're so annoying. Can you really just hurry up and disappear already? Mukuro hoped Junko would say something like that. She hoped she'd start verbally abusing her again or call her useless or incompetent. Mukuro was no masochist, but she preferred to be showed the bullets and contempt and endure this kind of emotional pain. But, I love you, Mukuro. Bye-bye. The monitor went black, leaving Mukuro to process the horrible goodbye she had just received. And as if on cue, Monokuma started moving again. Isn't family love so nice? By the way, you know there's about half of our murder cases the killer's a family member? Monokuma spoke in his usual tone of voice. But it was unclear if his words were getting through to Mukuro. Mukuro let out the blood pack in her hand, fall to the floor, and tightened her the grip on the iron bar she was still holding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Junko, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. She mumbled quietly as if she was chanting a spell and walked towards the black blood pack on the floor to Makoto's bedside with the iron bar in her hand. I'll do— No! Don't kill Makoto! I'll make sure I do this. So... Oh? Said Monokuma, perking up.
What are you gonna do properly? Do to Makoto with that big, thick rod you got there. Are you gonna do him? Or are you gonna do him in? Either way, I'm starting to feel some heart-throbbing excitement.
Alright, Jesus Christ. Mukuro looked like she had been completely broken. Monokuma walked close to her with eager anticipation. Eagle! Yeah, Monokuma turned into a bird! Suddenly, Monokuma's body silently floated in the air. What the hell? Mukuro, you have failed me! That's when Monokuma shoots out a power blast and freaking blows up Yasuhiro. No! Huh? No expression on his face. Monokuma tried to see what was happening to him. In the blink of an eye, an iron bar ripped through his body. Yes! Tip of the bar, which had been cut diagonally earlier, and a sharp point was straight through the Monokuma and stabbed in the surveillance camera. The lens was completely destroyed, and the camera shot out sparks as it broke down. The iron bar was still stabbed in the surveillance camera as Monokuma dailed. Ah, help me! He opened his mouth to say something, but only static and a few seconds later, his functions came to a complete stop. Without making a sound at all, Mukuro had kicked Monokuma in. Yes! Monokuma's power source and his bomb circuit perfectly aligned the surveillance camera in the nurse's office. Monokuma plunged into the iron bar with all three of them. No normal human had the skill to utilize such a technique, not even an ultimate. But all the hesitation within Mukuro had vanished. Her eyes sparkled like the panther stalking its prey at night. A tense aura surrounded Mukuro, even more so than when she sought Sakura earlier. Ignoring Monokuma's lifeless form, she looked at Makoto as she breathed softly and remembered her sister's parting word. So this is despair, she mumbled to herself. I'm so sorry, Junko. I never really understood what despair was. She spoke without emotion, like a machine. But it's going to be alright now. I finally understand. Hidden within her, passions began to stir. So, I'll make it up to you. I'll make you happy, Junko. I'll make sure I'll fill you with despair. I'll save Makoto to make sure the others don't die. I'll let them escape from this place. I'll deal with the people on the outside, too. You invested so much time into killing so many people for the sake of this plan, in order to destroy every last remnant of it. For you. It's not an act of vengeance, what it says to who had abandoned her. This is an act of mercy. Stuck between the ultimate despair and the hope they gained for Makoto, Mukuro was beginning to find into something that was unlike despair or hope. And she had no way of knowing what the... God, this freaking thing is giving Mukuro the best character treatment. Jesus Christ, I love Mukuro now. Happy music, babe. Over 10 minutes have passed. The sound of the students leaving the gym and making their way to the nurse's office rings out the hall. Inside, Jack continued to dodge Zakura's attack with a trick. Yeah, they're still fighting. But when Byakuya brought enough of her, you're trying to pivot. Sounds like Jack stood in the tracks.
Oh, my. Getting chewed out by my bespectacled Byakuya is making my masochistic side get all tingly. They say a line between sadism and masochism is paper thin, but in my case, it's more like a Venn diagram. Words can explain these hot waves of passion squirming at the top of my head and the tips of my toes. She rambled incoherently about Byakuya. The other students tied her up with a microphone cable. Good! Yay! Yay! Our students stayed behind to keep an eye on her while the rest searched for the group at school. One here, guys! Don't look at that kebab we got on the wall. It's with the iron bar. We got Monokuma surveillance camera and I think another surveillance camera. The kebab coming to a Red Lobster near you. Why Red Lobster? I don't freaking know. It's just I've never been to a Red Lobster. Anyway, back to Danganronpa. Enough about Red freaking Lobster. As soon as the door to the nurse's office opened, Kyoko saw a malfunctioned Monokuma with a hole in its chest and the remains of a surveillance camera. It was just in the nurse's office, though. On their way there, the students have seen several destroyed surveillance cameras scattered Monokuma bodies. This was a clear violation of school regulations, but if Mukuro was allied with Monokuma, those regulations wouldn't apply to her. Yes! Yes! The Monokuma inside the gym was no longer moving. All the students had lost contact with the hacker. Oh, I wonder why. Oh, poor Bashiki, the freaking dingus of the West. Of the West? What the hell? So the students assumed that the Midori has taken over control of different Monokuma and went after Mukuro on his own. With that in mind, Kyoko turned and looked inside the nurse's office once again. It was unusually quiet. The beds were empty, but Kyoko could see the bloodstain that someone had been resting there recently. Resting on the ground? What? Looks like they're already gone.
Looks like they're already gone, Mono remarked, but as he was about to leave, Kyoko spoke up behind him. I'm going to stay here with Chihiro and search for clues. Huh? Chihiro said with his timid eyes widening. Clues? Kyoko continued to speak in a calm tone of voice. Yes, there might be clues to find these Monokuma remains. I figured you'd be the best candidate for investigating machinery. Sakura spoke up. But isn't that dangerous? Sakura could clearly hold her own in a fight with Mukuro. She had joined the other students in searching the school grounds. Kyoko shook her head and replied, I'm sorry to say this, but if things get out of hand, Chihiro and I will be in your way. Ooh! I think it's better if we search for clues here instead of doing nothing. Besides, we might be able to use Monokuma's parts to detect any radio broadcasts from the outside world. You certainly have a point. Understood. We'll be exploring the floor for a while. Please shout for us if anything happens. Sakura left the nurse's office. How did she destroy Monokuma like this? As Chihiro crossed stood over Monokuma's remains, Kyoko started searching around the room. She had zeroed in on one of the beds and began studying it intensely. A moment later, Kyoko was satisfied with with what she found and let out a small sigh before she spoke. Chihiro, let me apologize to you in advance. Huh? I dragged you into this gamble of a mind. If anything happens, run out of the hallway and call for help. What does that mean? Oh! Fight! I mean, I'm sorry, Kyoko, you're better than the last game, but I mean, in this scenario, let's go, Mukuro. Heck yeah. Yay, Mukuro! But instead of answering Chihiro's question, Kyoko started talking to one of the empty beds. Let me say this first. I'm prepared to hear your story. No matter how ridiculous it may sound, I promise not to decide if it's a lie or truth until after I've listened to its entirety. Chihiro looked confused. She didn't understand what Kyoko meant at all. The ultimate blink lowered her eyes to turn to the ultimate programmer who made a request. Chihiro, does your laptop have a voice recording function? And do you also have a microphone? Huh? Yeah. I want you to use that to record everything we're about to hear. But there's no one here. Chihiro wondered that to herself. He began connecting Monokuma's box to a laptop and turned into one of the recording functions. I'm sure I picked up every sound in this room now, said Chihiro nervously. Satisfied, Kyoko nodded and once again started talking to the empty bed. So what are we gonna do if I told everyone that I found Makoto? When she heard Kyoko say that, Chihiro looked back at her and she was surprised by what she saw. At the moment, the ultimate programmer was kneeling on the floor next to Monokuma's remains. From the position, she was able to see it. Out of all the beds in the nurse's office, there was one in particular she couldn't be seen from the entrance. Underneath that bed lay a limp Makoto. A blood pack was hidden next to the bed and slowly providing Makoto with a transfusion. The contents of the blood were clear. Rather than blood, it seemed to be some kind of saline solution in emergency hydration. Though it wouldn't be as if effective to an actual blood transfusion, it was enough to keep him from going into shock. Though that was the extent of Chihiro's medical knowledge, she was already surprised that Makoto had been in the nurse's office the whole time. Not only that, but Kyoko wasn't talking to the bed that Makoto was under, which sent chills throughout Chihiro's body. However, there was nobody under the bed that Kyoko was facing. But the moment Chihiro noticed that, a voice rang out from underneath it. As soon as everyone's attention was focused on Makoto, I was planning to take advantage of the opportunity to take someone hostage. As Chihiro cautiously lowered her head, it was nearly touching the floor as he was able to make out who was talking. Surprisingly, the person hiding behind the clinging to the frame of the bed, like a ninja clinging to the ceiling. Yes! Knew she was there! Presumably, if someone had glanced under the bed, quickly she would have noticed anybody was there. Though Chihiro had no idea how the person was able to hide on the bed for that long, she could at least understand their strength was beyond any normal human levels. There was no question that the person hiding underneath the bed was Mukuro Kusaba. But you're pretending not to notice? Why? Mukuro's voice was as cold as ice, but Kyoko didn't even flinch as she responded. Because I wanted to hear your side of the story. I know you're hiding under that bed. Compared to the others, the frame was slightly more pronounced. Chihiro tried comparing the beds to see if it was true, but she couldn't tell the difference at all. Only Kyoko's natural observation skills could let her see something like that. Mukuro... The beds are like paper thin! You could just look under the bed and see her. Mukuro seemed to come to a similar conclusion and appeared from under the bed without making a sound. Her face was stoic and cold compared to the bomb inside Monokuma. Chihiro thought she was even more terrifying. However, Mukuro ignored Chihiro and shifted her gaze at Kyoko. She leaned against the wall and let her arms fall to her sides. She threw out another question. Why do you want to hear what I have to say? Kyoko thought about it as a simple question for a while as she was searching for her own heart for the answer. If I have to provide an answer, it's because I wish to remain neutral. Kyoko quietly looked down. I'm currently missing most of my memories. I don't know who I am or what talent I had to be accepted into the school. She could hear Chihiro's gasp behind her, but Kyoko didn't mind and continued. But even so, I believe I should listen to what you have to say. Regardless of whether you're good or evil, I must hear all the facts in order to know the truth. Good and evil don't matter. I'll come to a conclusion based on what I see and hear. I think that's a methodological logic that have to be installed into me. Yeah, that word! I see. Completely forgot you were like that, Kyoko. But before I listen to you have to say, I have to have one question first. What is it? Mukuro's reply was completely emotionless. Kyoko presented the question as if she was asking it for herself as well. What was my talent that allowed me to attend this academy? The answer to that question was simple. Kyoko, you're the ultimate detective. That answer marked a turning point for both girls. Thank you. I have a better understanding of the situation now. Kyoko slowly raised her head and presented a theory. If my memory loss wasn't just a coincidence, then your group has the ability to erase people's memories. With that in mind, if we take into consideration the situation that unfolded in the gym earlier, I can only come to one possibility. Possibility? Yes. What you said to Byakuya when he thought you were taking Toko hostage. You claimed you met 2 years ago. It's possible that you managed to be true. The fact that Makoto called out Mukuro's name, the things that Mukuro confirmed and denied, Jinsai Jack's outlandish claims, these key factors that Kyoko noted with special observation skills were converging in her mind to form one answer. It's possible that Byakuya and Toko's memories were also erased, like mine, but I don't think that their circumstances are quite the same as mine. But if our memories can be controlled so freely, it calls into question whether the day Monokuma appeared was really the same day we encountered the academy. Like you said, it's possible that we've known Toko Fukura for the last 2 years. What do you mean? Chihiro cried, still working on connecting a laptop to Monokuma's parts. Kyoko continued, speaking to both Chihiro and Mukuro. We thought we were knocked unconscious before sleeping gas the moment we arrived at the school, but it's possible that we were simply made to think that's what happened. Actually, no, Makoto went through a Geiger's portal. Maybe you guys... Makoto got the supernatural treatment, alright? He's special. For example, we may have already spent the last 2 years at Hope Speed Academy and our memories at the time were just completely erased. It's just a possible that we weren't ultimates at all. Just random people who had been implanted with 16 years of false memories. Though Kyoko's claims sounded ridiculous, her face was completely serious. She looked up at Mukuro's once again. Which means, I'm considering the possibility that your crazy story is actually the truth. Kyoko declaration filled the room with silence. But she didn't let that silence overwhelm her. Kyoko cut through with her own words. Without evidence, all I can do is make hypotheses. That's why I wanted to hear what you have to say, Mukuro. I have no intention of blindly believing. What are you gonna say? Or what that self-proclaimed hacker who took over Monokuma said. She paused and lowered her eyes again and declared with a powerful determination. Even so, I intend to come to a conclusion as fairly and objectively as I can. But I can only do that if you trust me and tell me the truth. Kyoko's conviction was clear from her voice. Mukuro's eyes narrowed slightly and tapestry of her emotions flashed across her face as she looked towards Kyoko. But when she opened her mouth, her expression and voice were completely devoid of emotion. That's right, I completely forgot. You were like that. Mukuro repeated this to herself softly, then faced Kyoko and declared, "That must be why Junko took care to erase more of your memories compared to the others." Very well, I'll tell you everything. And after Mukuro placed Makoto back on the bed, she began to mechanically tell the story. The story of a girl who wanted to fill the world with despair, a girl who felt truly happy when she was filled with despair herself. A plan for despair that began 2 years ago, perhaps even earlier than that. How the world was currently ruled by despair itself, Mukuro provided a brief summary of everything she knew about the plan. That's why it sounded even more outrageous than Kyoko had expected. And through the story, Kyoko was able to learn the truth about herself, who she was and what she came to the academy. The fate of the academy, real headmaster, Kyoko's father. As she listened to Mukuro's story, Kyoko remained silent the whole time. Her face went blank as she leaned farther and she had died. Perhaps her memory loss and the absurdity of the situation helped loosen the impact somewhat. But there was no guarantee Kyoko would believe her story. After Mukuro finished talking, Kyoko stayed silent. With her unraveled mental prowess, she was able to listen to Mukuro's story without interrupting her or diminishing it as nonsense. Mukuro continued, "You don't have to believe me. After all, any pictures that could prove my story are with Junko. All I can do is talk." After she said that, Mukuro silently moved towards the entrance of the nurse's office. When she arrived at the door, she spoke again without looking back. "But even if you don't believe me, you still listened to everything. I had to say so. Kyoko, Chihiro, thank you." After apologizing in such a strange tone of voice, she turned to the bed where Makoto laid, breathing weakly. "Make sure Makoto stays rested. When he wakes up, make sure you give him some sports drinks so the dining hall is supplied with room to drink." Oh! Yes, please! "Of course, but what are you going to do now?" asked Kyoko. Mukuro straightened herself up. "Despair. I need to make Junko feel despair." Mukuro continued mumbling to herself as she opened the door. "There's nothing else I can do." "No. There is something you can do." Mukuro stopped walking as Kyoko spoke firmly. "Regardless of what Monokuma said is really Junko Onishima or Basiki Madari, if you're dealing with him, you won't be able to lay a finger on Makoto. I don't fully trust you, but if you're really concerned for Makoto's life, I'm willing to work with you. Unlike Basiki, who's probably abandoned him already. Right? I'm sorry. I don't really work well with others." Mukuro looked away and then bowed her head as she left the nurse's office. "But, I'll do my best." The door was closed and Mukuro was gone. "I'm sorry for involving you in something that's so dangerous, Chihiro." As she continued to organize the vast amounts of information that Mukuro gave her, Kyoko turned to Chihiro, who was still working on the Monokuma. As she trembled with fear, Chihiro slowly looked back to Kyoko. Kyoko? About what Mukuro said just now?" Chihiro's face turned pale as she struggled with her words, and Kyoko tried to calm her down. "I can't determine if anything she told us was true or not. There's no need to be afraid." But Chihiro shook her head in return and looked at her laptop. I think she's telling the truth." "What are you basing that on?" Well, it looks like Monokuma is really being controlled from the outside. Part of Monokuma's systems has been controlling to Chihiro's laptop and was analyzing the data within the control system. And it was that the ultimate programmer noticed something unusual about it. This control program. I thought it would believe another year before the system became fully operational. Chihiro started trembling as she was much able to continue speaking. "We can't confirm that," said Kyoko, proposing another possibility to avoid jumping to conclusions. "It's possible that a simple program was being developed in secret," but Chihiro adamantly shook her head and said, "No, that's not it. It just looks really familiar to me." Kyoko looked over to Chihiro's trembling shoulders and peered at the screen to see what she noticed. "This program..." "Chihiro, did you..." "Alter ego!" The ultimate programmer could do nod weakly. "Oh. I guess not. No, let's look at the Vault 101 door. My voice. I am going to kill my voice!" I still can't get over it, though. I mean, this is freaking awesome. I did not expect this to be in the game. Ruka continued moving forward and was fortunate enough to encounter Sakura Mondo. Yeah, that's a good idea. No interference from anyone, she made her way to the hall as large as the gym and stood before the sealed main entrance. Suddenly, Monokuma popped out from the shadow and blocked her path. Within this hall that resembled a nuclear bomb shelter, complete with all manner of heavy weapons. Monokuma's silhouette was consciously out of place here. His laughter rang out through the room as he wiggled his body from side to side. Scary. What were you doing in the nurse's office? Did you eliminate your rival for Makoto's affections? Or did you help you play matchmaker instead?
Either way, I think it's some kind of adorable to put Makoto and Kyoko in the same situation together. If this was a suspense film, those two would be the last couple standing. But this wasn't a horror film. They just died anyway. The killer was alive all along. Splat goes the blood. Plop goes the meat. I'm a huge fan of ending where the characters think they're gonna live, but then they really headed to the final death and initiation. Wait, what the hell is tination? What does that even mean?
Despite Monokuma's angry complaints, Mukuro remained uninterrupted. She continued to stare icy daggers at Monokuma as if she was waiting for him to finish speaking.
Well, anyway, I'm just so sad right now. Regulation-breaking delinquent is disrupting the harmony of this peaceful academy. I can't even keep one of my students from running wild. Can I say goodbye to you, incompetent headmaster? I'm gonna use Monokuma Evolution to become a big magnum headmaster and mold into you decent student.
So he said that Monokuma extended his claws and walked towards Mukuro. Not again! How many Monokumas we gotta get through?
So, I wanna mold you, and I gotta kill you first!
As he finished speaking, Monokuma suddenly charged at Mukuro with a spiked volleyball. What? But Mukuro was faster and dodged Monokuma's attack. She jumped back, keeping her distance from Monokuma just in case his claws could extend even longer. Just then, a shadowy figure appeared next to her. Mukuro twisted her body limits to narrowly avoid the figure's attack. When she landed on the floor, she immediately saw.
So what does this immortal killer want anyway?
Are you gonna tell the others the truth and escape with them? No, you know that's what the outside world is like right now? What the heck? Two Monokumas were speaking to Mukuro in union.
Honestly, I don't mind if you do that. Just imagine the look on everyone's face when they discover the truth. Fills me with such a heart-throbbing excitement.
Two Monokumas continued to speak in stereo sound.
You said it would destroy my plans, but there's no happy ending here for you. I don't know which route you take. And you only have yourself to blame for that. Don't tell me you thought they would be grateful to you. Even though you guys escaped here, they think they'll still forgive you if they get whiff off with the nasty outside. Some of them might prefer to stay in the school, and some might be resentful of you for being kind and showing them the truth. But then again, it's all your fault anyway, so it doesn't really matter what they think of you.
Monokuma made a little mistake. Despite facing down two Monokumas, Mukuro's expression didn't waver. She understood that controlling two simultaneously was a piece of cake for Junko. Mukuro drew an arm's length of metal bar from seemingly and readied herself. It was the remains of the IV stand from the nurse's office, sharpened to a pointed weapon. With the weapon in hand, Mukuro responded in a cold mechanical tone. That's fine. I'm already used to that. None of the fears she was when Monokuma suggested that Makoto would blame her appeared on her face. Her path was clear to her now. She calmly issued a demand to Monokuma. Junko opened the gates. The shock of such a straightforward demand left both Monokumas momentarily speechless between their fight.
Huh? Why?
So we can all leave together. Another straightforward answer, but Monokumas faced each other. What the hell did you just say? Each of them began gesturing as if they were whispering to one another. Mukuro knew their movements were intended to mock her. Unmoved, she continued to speak to Junko directly. I think they'll understand if I show them the outside world, and then they'll stop doubting Makoto.
You'll always find a new way to disappoint me, Mukuro. Did you forget why the school had an air filtration system? It's that the air outside is polluted, but I don't think they would kill us immediately. Besides, it's better than being trapped in the school and being forced to kill each other. How can you be sure the others will go along with you? You know what I mean, right? Before the former headmaster got turned into a space dust, he interviewed the others, and they all agreed they wanted to stay in the school. That was before the memories were erased. Do you really want to betray their wishes? Mukuro blinked and slowly stepped forward. I don't really care about their feelings, huh? You're all I need, Junko. So don't worry. I'm watching out for you. I'm going to make sure you feel despair, and I'm going to make Makoto and the others happy. If you want to revel in your own despair that badly, then I'll trust the hope Makoto gave me and take my chances with them instead of you. Mukuro's brief but powerful words caused the Monokumas to turn and talk to each other again. Oh my, this doesn't look good at all, Monokuma. This child doesn't realize its own hypocrisy. She's just disappointing. She's trying to reach critical mass. Right, Monokuma B? I'm loving these guys. Monokuma A and B, the best. The two Monokumas looked at Mukuro, who seemed ready to destroy them, and said, What do you think, Monokuma C? No, turn around! Mukuro was taken aback by the question, but her instincts instantly kicked in. She immediately dodged away. At that moment, a third Monokuma claws extended past Mukuro. How many Monokumas? This new Monokuma with unit landed with several spins and faced Mukuro, who clung to the remains of the surveillance camera still attached to the ceiling. I agree with you both, A and B.
The three Monokumas lined themselves up. To the students locked inside of the academy, this sight would have been akin to a nightmare. You mean A dream paradise? What are you talking about, a nightmare?
Right on.
Ooh, there's so many freaking quote marks. The units began speaking in perfect harmony as their 6 eyes looked up at Mukuro. Suddenly, they each jumped away in 3 separate directions and kicked off one of the walls. The path to each unit's triangular attack all converged on the singular point, Mukuro, who was still clinging to the ceiling. She was surrounded by razor-sharp claws coming at her from different directions. But this situation wasn't even a nightmare to Mukuro. Compared to the time she had faded off 3 assassins who invaded her camp one night back when she was still a member of Fenrir, this was nothing. This thought crossed Mukuro's mind as she dangled from the ceilings with one hand and thrashed her limbs around like a tornado. Intercepted by the move, the Monokumas fell to the floor with a loud crash. Mukuro landed on the ground and chased after,
Get back here!
brandishing her metal bar. Suddenly, she stopped moving and took a huge leap back. Yeah, go Mukuro, you got this! One of the Monokumas exploded with a deafening roar. He had detonated the bomb inside of himself with an attempt to take Mukuro down with him. But thanks to her honored battlefield instruction, Mukuro managed to avoid the explosion. Yeah! She looked toward the hallway, expecting the explosion to have attracted the attention of Sakura and the others, but she didn't hear any footsteps approaching. Monokuma's voice ran from within the dense smoke.
Oh, you don't have to worry. I already told the others to assemble in the cafeteria. They were eager to follow my orders after I told them I'd disarmed the poison gas that took a special police that were coming to get them. Pretty sure Kyoko and the others are all in the cafeteria by now. I'm sure Makoto is with them too. I doubt Sakura will get rough with him, but I'm sure Byakuya will torture Makoto once he wakes up. I just imagine him putting salt or pouring soy sauce in his open wounds. Man, I'm getting all hot and bothered right now. I want to freaking kill Byakuya. Even if he's not doing that, I don't care. What? She listened to Monokuma's overlapping voices. Mukuro tilted her head slightly and asked, I'm pretty sure they're going to find out that you lied and there was a special police unit. Are you really okay with that? No worries.
Would have dealt with you. I don't really care at all. They found I was lying. Huh?
You still don't get it.
There are 5 Monokumas now. There were 5 Monokumas.
You're such a disappointment.
Suddenly dawned on Mukuro. Not the reason that Monokuma didn't care if the students found out he lied, but rather that the voices of Monokumas in the smoke were gradually increasing in number. Yep. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 10 Monokumas. That's nothing. Smoke started to clear. The shadows of 3 Monokumas appeared. The one that exploded couldn't have revived, so a new one must have come to take its place. But there was no way Mukuro only heard 3 Monokumas talking just now. As if to prove her healing had been accurate, the Monokumas suddenly made their move. The 3 Monokumas bent over and began twirling their upper bodies. From behind them, new Monokumas appeared like affirmages brought to life. The second one Monokumas mimicked the earlier ones in the old frame of delay, revealing even more Monokumas behind them. Eventually, Mukuro realized that there were 3 rows containing 10 Monokumas. Oh my god!
Don't you know this kind of circle dance?
Monokuma's 30 voices spoke in perfect harmony as they divulged information that had nothing to do with the current situation. Mukuro already knew that the multiple Monokumas were positioned throughout the academy, but only Junko knew how many Monokumas actually existed. Mukuro had no way these 30 Monokumas were part of a larger contention. The flock of 2-tone teddy bears continuing to twirl around, Mukuro felt like she was being bombarded with hypnotic images. But faced with the abnormal sight, the ultimate soldier remained calm and maintained her focus. She was nothing like the girl who had panicked earlier in the gym when Makoto was impaled. As she stood before the 30 emissaries of despair, she slowed her breathing and allowed her heart to race to accelerate. It was instinct, not fear or panic, that set her up, blood racing throughout her body, speeding up the reaction time of her cells. As her senses sharpened, the Monokumas began speaking to her again.
Don't worry, make sure Makoto doesn't die. As long as everybody lives, I can reset their memories as many times as I want. Pooh-hoo. Oh, that's right. All your effort, hope, dreams, and determination are going right in the garbage heap.
Monokumas took turns speaking in groups of 10, as if the mastermind controlling the Monokumas wanted to show off their ability to manipulate them. However, the ultimate soldier knew that the true purpose behind all of this was. She strained her ears behind the limit, noticed a certain sound hidden in the Monokumas' voices. Mukuro's face remained perfectly still as she kicked off the floor. The moment she moved to the side, a roaring sound shook the entrance hall. The ceiling mountain turrets in front of the gate started rambling turrets down. No! The Monokumas were just Mastermind's decoy, which tried to blow her away. As if further trapping her, the Monokumas charged at Mukuro through the storm of bullets. Mukuro guessed that the Mastermind programmed their movements by advance so they wouldn't get hit by a single bullet. She went for the gates, evading the bullets and claws at every step of the way. Programming 30 Monokumas and 2 turrets while also protecting Mukuro's escape route. That would be considered impossible for everyone, but Mukuro knew it was possible for Junko. As ultimate despair, she possessed despair-inducing abilities that surpassed the capabilities of any human. Her display of power was only filling Mukuro with despair. The scene playing out in front of the Mukuro was brimming with despair. The adorably deadly Monokumas laughed and danced like reapers as bullets whizzed throughout the air. This is the coolest freaking thing in the universe! It was despair to the point of absurdity, and it was all for Mukuro. But in the presence of such despair, Mukuro felt a sustained serenity. For me? Junko's doing all this. For me? Junko, are you watching me right now? In the end, perhaps Mukuro really was a disappointment. She clenched her fist. Junko, thank you. The sound of gunfire overshadowed her whisper, and Mukuro fell completely silent. As member of the ultimate despair, Mukuro's heart was filled with joy. Though she filled with emotion, her eyes had lost their sparkle. Silence filled the air, even for the gunfire from the turret seemed to stop for a moment. But that was only an illusion to the one controlling Monokuma. Something strong enough in the silence of the gunfire and avoid being picked up by the sensor spread throughout the school when Mukuro at the center. I'll make sure I do this right. With that final thought, she closed her mouth and turned off her emotions. As she ran through the waves of scorching bullets, the air around her began to grow colder. As this coldness spread into her heart, it began to beat in mechanical fashion. Several seconds later, Mukuro's body and mind melded together and became one with the surrounding. Yes! Her temperature now dominated the battlefield. Despair bullets and Monokumas filled the area. Mukuro protected her movements and jumped in the air without any hesitation. One of the Monokumas jumped at her, but she avoided his attack, kicked his body, and launched herself in the midair. Bullets pierced through the space Monokuma was previously occupying. Strike the falling Monokuma right for the intentional blow. An internal bomb. The impact of the bullet caused it to explode, sending the fiery Monokuma parts everywhere. As she rode the blast wave, Mukuro balanced herself in midair as she kicked away 3 Monokumas and leapt after her. She moved so gracefully that she was practically flying. In contrast, the Monokumas threw themselves into a path of oncoming bullets, exploding one after the other. Some of them exploding near the main entrance, but their blast didn't leave a scratch. With full control of the entrance hall, Mukuro evaded bullets and confirmed that the bombs inside the Monokumas weren't enough to destroy the door, but she refused to stop. Mukuro needed to get information on what she must do to escape the academy. She decided to kill Junko. Mukuro wanted to fill Junko with despair by instilling hope in the future of Makoto and the other students. That's what Mukuro's ultimate goal, to get information. In contrast to her determination, her mouth stayed shut, but this not take Mukuro was currently speaking to Junko. This situation, this battle of death and destruction was conversation for sorts of Mukuro. As she knew, all she knew how to do was fight. She thought she wasn't interested in anything else. She thought she didn't need anything else. As Mukuro needed to be a sword to fulfill her sister's desire of despair. That purpose alone is the crux of existence, and she lived her entire life convinced that she couldn't do anything else. That's why her power is like a language to Mukuro. A battle to the death revealed more about her heart than mere words could ever do. Her words were in the wind, savagery. That word that blows across the battlefield, uprooting others who speak the language of violence. The true events against her sister. When Junko would breathe with her sister, Mukuro couldn't talk back. All she could do was cower and apologize profusely. But it's different now. For the first time, Junko was using a language her sister actually recognized. The child of despair who tore the world apart was speaking to her sister with the language of power. Mukuro's heart filled with joy. For that reason, she strengthened her focus on the conversation with Junko, and that motion began to gradually disappear. On the frigid battlefield, Mukuro continued her hot conversation. Endless rounds of despair fired from the school's turrets, but Mukuro's words intercepted every last violent shot that threatened to shatter her body and mind in half. She quickly realized that Monokumas hadn't decreased in number at all, no matter how many she kept destroying. Not only that, she noticed that more Monokumas had joined the fray, to nearly 50 of them for Mukuro to fight. That seems fair. Mukuro's resolve wouldn't break so easily. She continued with the power. Her heart began to fill with something that was neither hope nor despair. She learned from despair, from being abandoned by Junko. She had learned hope from her acts of violence. For Mukuro, who had no interest in this world, think small space in front of the gate was a reflection of her life, a representation of her perfect world. This disappointing girl, filled with endless disappointment, who knew no other way, continued her lonely dance. She surrounded herself in the rhythm of despair, which accompanied the music of hope. Whoa! What do you think, Junko? You freaking loser? What do you think of that? Loser! Computer room. Innermost area. Monokuma's room. Best room. How much time had passed? Surveillance cameras at the gates were capturing the footage of countless Monokumas falling at the hands of a child who fought like a raging demon. The Monokumas bolstered their numbers, and now 100 of them were trying to sink their claws into Mukuro. Most of them were running on autopilot, reacting to her movements based on prior information they have received in advance. But despite standing before hundreds of mechanical adversaries, Mukuro's fate showed no fear. She hadn't sustained a single injury, giving her presence that was nearly divine to behold. Though Sakura Ogami was powerful enough to injure her arm, Mukuro in her current state could potentially fight Sakura to a draw now, without relying on firearms. She took complete control of the battlefield, taking in her surroundings as if they were part of herself. She dodged attack from her rear as she thought they were eyes on the back of her head, and stabbed through Monokuma's weak points with her metal bar. No matter where the attacks came from, Mukuro deflected them as her skin was covered in eyes. Describing her as ultimate no longer did her justice. Mukuro had transcended the boundaries of humanity, became a pure killing machine. But despite that, even though she understood the ludicrous power her sister possessed, Junko was not afraid. She felt no iota of fear. After all Junko could feel is despair. She even started to admire her sister's attempt to fill it with despair, but that sentiment quickly filled as Junko with an ecstasy of despair. Junko knew. She knew that Mukuro was neither hope nor despair. She was just a phenomenon, a disappointing girl who no longer understood herself, who only knew how to be violent because it was all that she could believe in anymore. Mukuro had become an avatar of destruction beyond that of any military force. She couldn't even be considered a soldier anymore. She was a natural disaster, like a typhoon or a tornado. Or perhaps like gravity, she was now a fundamental force of the universe that only existed to bring despair to Junko. The mastermind enjoyed watching her sister go all out. If Mukuro destroyed everything and ruined her life, Junko would still be able to confronted by despair. She could just go right ahead and overpower her. Junko considered this for a few seconds until a familiar hopeless habit reared his head. Her habit of getting so bored that it made her sick. The girl who had been grinning as she watched the screen now bore a look of calm stoicism as she reached for a microphone connected to Monokuma's speakers. Mukuro was no longer human anymore, but Junko knew how to bring her back. It was a simple feeling, really. If that hopeless feeling for Mukuro were in mind, the mastermind said just one word. Mukuro. In front of the main entrance. Mukuro. That voice. It was calling her name. Instead of using Monokuma's voice filter, Junko's natural voice was coming out of Monokuma unit. That's all it took. With one word, Mukuro Ikusawa stopped being a force of nature and became a person again. Monokuma would not miss this opportunity, as if moving to the beat of Mukuro's shaking heart, a torrent of claws leapt to attack her. But Mukuro trusted her instincts and twirled her entire body to fend off the attacks, leaving her with only a few scrapes here and there. But the despair wasn't over yet. The ultimate despair didn't waste any time making her next move. Mukuro, watch out! Huh? As soon as Mukuro heard her voice, her mind went completely blank. There's no mistaking it. That was Makoto's scream. What? That scream that saved her from the spears of Ganyan charged her despair. Oh, they're freaking using Makoto against her? No, that's wrong. Hey, that's something Makoto say all the time, I think. It took her a tenth of a second to realize that voice was just a sound clip that Junko had replayed. But it was more than enough to drag Mukuro, who had regained her humanity, into despair. Right when she recovered from a moment of shock, Monokuma appeared behind her and roundhouse kicked her in the temple. No! She twisted her head to roll with a blow, but at that moment, a different Monokuma attacked her from the opposite side with a headbutt. As soon as Mukuro dodged that attack, 3 Monokumas launched simultaneously drop kicks and knocked her to the ground. Ugh! In fact, they weren't using their claws, meant they were trying to kill Mukuro right away. Before she could stand up, dozens of Monokumas waiting for her to climbed on top of Mukuro and pinned her limbs. One of the Monokumas walked over to Mukuro and she lay face down on the floor and laughed.
Pooh-hoo! A pretty girl getting punished by all these me's. I wonder how she should be more excited about this. Don't make that face. If I wanted to kill you, I could just plant you full of bullets right now. I don't think the audience will be watching this on TV or like your ending very much. And make sure I do this the right way this time.
What are you planning to do to me? Mukuro asked her emotionless voice. Monokuma guffawed and answered,
Nothing. Just making you stick to the original plan and make you play this killing school.
Oh, okay, sounds cool.
I'll erase everyone's memories again, and I'll just make them redo the introduction and the entrance ceremony again.
No! In typical Monokuma fashion, he leaned his face towards Mukuro.
But, me boring, I've had to redo everything. Maybe this time I'll have you participate as Mukuro Ikusawa.
What?
Take away even more of your memories, just like I did the irritating detective girl. You'll just be a poor little girl with no memory at all.
Monokuma talked and wiggled his body from side to side. The other Monokuma was dancing and twirled around. Amid the fantastical scene, Monokuma continued to describe his hopeless plan in a nonchalant manner.
At first, you'll be the girl with amnesia, and everyone will feel sorry for you. But as they unravel the mystery of this academy, they'll find out who you really are. It's exciting how they treat you when that happens. Knowing you probably kill someone purely on instinct. Maybe I should rethink my rules about self-defense.
Pooh. You can't. Her memories would be erased. There was nothing she could do about her classmates hating her. But losing even her childhood memories would mean her connection to Junko would be severed as well. I pressed the wrong button again! Mukuro had no interest in the world that was unbearable even for her.
I've heard of that New Game Plus before, but this is the first time I'll get to see a New Game Minus. Should I tell you up for fun? Maybe we should make this game even more masochistic. Play at hard mode, very hard mode, and inferno mode, and just keep doing impossible mode. What? Question mark. Maybe I'll erase your memories and drag you on the motorcycle, pummel you with 1,000 baseballs, run you at the stake, and crush you with an excavator.
Hey! Call back, baby! Mukuro knew Monokuma was talking about. He's describing the tools they had prepared for the various executions they had planned. Oh, maybe they're just listing the exact ones that happened for reference, but the way that they worded it right there made it seem like that was planned. Did they plan everything, all the killers? If so, probably. I mean, I'd believe it. Do everyone introduce themselves? They'll walk around the school grounds and eventually find a flat-chested girl with amnesia, covered in bandages with Fenrir tattoo on her right hand. But a certain fan base might get off to that. Oh, well, that certain fan base already played this game, so there you go. To swear this game, that would increase sales by 500%. The Monokuma sounded like he was joking. Everything he said was deadly serious. Oh yeah, Monokuma, I believe it. I completely believe it. As evidence, Mukuro heard a rambling sound off in the distance. Now then, the sweet ride is on its way. Based on the engine noise, as Mukuro surmised that there was a large motorcycle that was supposed to use for one of the executions. I took the time to bring you all this way from the punishment room so you can be grateful. The sound of the roaring engine grew louder and louder and approached the footsteps of death. Mukuro wondered how Monokuma would drive it with such tiny arms and legs, but then she remembered she was dealing with the ultimate despair. Chunko would make the impossible possible just to bring about despair. A despair that was hand in hand with Mukuro's fate. Did I fail? I couldn't fill Junko with despair? I couldn't save Makoto and the others? Questions raced through Mukuro's mind, but she wasn't able to answer them. There's no way she could have answered them so easily. After all, she was still alive. The sound of the motorcycle grew closer and closer as if it was threatening to break Mukuro's spirit. Suddenly, Monokuma stopped moving. The other Monokumas continued doing their automatic movements. As a strange event unfolded, Mukuro noticed something. The motorcycle had suddenly gone quiet. After a few seconds, the engine exploded to life and began approaching even faster than before. Only a few seconds later, what appeared in front of the main entrance was an enormous motorcycle that plowed through the groups of Monokumas like a predator hunting its prey. The rider of this Monokuma was none other than Mondo. What? Why is he here? What is... Mukuro and Monokuma were both visibly shocked by this turn of events. Instead of addressing the Mondo accelerated the motorcycle and stole them from Monokuma directly towards... What is happening? Before the front of the tire could retouch Mukuro, he popped a reverse wheelie and turned the entire motorcycle around. The back wheel swept over Mukuro's back, knocking her away as the Monokumas were pitting her. Hey, can you stand? Mondo asked her, grudgingly offering his hand. Thank you, Mondo! Confused, Mukuro took his hand and stood up. What are you doing, Mondo? I was so close. One of the Monokumas protested. Not in his normal voice, but as a hacker. Besiki Malu. Oh yeah, you Besiki Malu or whatever. Right. That's right. Why are you helping a terrorist?
I ain't bragging about this or anything, but I'm okay if your girl is lying.
The veins in his temple began to bulge. Yes, that's my Mondo! And his cheeks flushed with anger as Mondo said, but still, I ain't the type of person to stand around when some idiots gang up on her. Respect! Oh, I love you, Iwata!
What are you saying? Lower yourself! Must be experiencing Stockholm Syndrome. You've deluded yourself into thinking you're friends with the criminal who's taking you hostage!
Monokuma tried to explain to Mondo, but he ignored him, and Mukuro's hand and pulled her up on the back of the motorcycle. Oh, shut them up! I don't know nothing about the Stockholms or Syndrome! But I don't go acting like you could boss me or... God, Mondo, freaking the best. As Mondo shouted, he revealed the motorcycle as if he was using it to punctuate his words. The ceiling mountain turrets began moving, but the two disappeared before the turrets could take aim at the motorcycle. Yes! As they zoomed to the hallway, Keller's Monokumas chased after them. Come back here! Waving their claws wildly throughout the air. Why? Asked Mukuro. Shouted Mondo. Wow. Thank you, I guess.
I got some now, but I can do Monokuma now.
His voice was even louder than the sound of the engine. Don't get the wrong idea! I don't trust you at all! His voice lowered. He lowered his voice slightly as if he were whispering to himself. But still, I don't know why I felt like I could trust what he said. He? Cried Mukuro. There's no time for questions. The unit leading the Monokumas chasing after the motorcycle had almost caught up to them. And then, like the enormous maw of fearsome creature, they brandished their claws in a perfect unison. At that moment, the motorcycle zoomed by a certain girl. A girl who's fighting a bit. Yes! Let's go, Sakura! Da-da-da. The fighting spirit that denied comprehension, the ultimate martial artist kicked off the floor. A sound even louder than the motorcycle's engine filled the room. When Mukuro looked back, she saw Sakura landing on the floor, sending a pack of Monokumas flying several meters away. Sakura? Oh my god, this is so awesome! If she heard Mukuro mumbled her name, Sakura didn't acknowledge it. Like a statue of fearsome god king, she claimed her breathing as she stood before the pack of Monokumas ready for battle. Your pursuit methods seem unbecoming for one who comes with the ultimate hacker. An overpowering aura seeped in from her skin, and her skin skimmered away. Skimming away as an intense heart began to fill the hallway. Unlike the power of Mukuro's sheer violence, this was the power of a martial artist. Mukuro froze the air around her in time with it, but Sakura was generating enough heat to boil space itself, and she stood before the Monokumas. With the heat stinging her back, Mukuro looked ahead. Hey, one here! Hifumi and Chihiro were cautiously peeking from behind the door leading to the dorms, while Aoi and Taka kept... This is so cool! You're all working together to kill people! After passing by them, Mondo slowed down the motorcycle as he reached the front of the cafeteria and turned the complete stop. The other students looked warily at Mukuro, but among these students, Mukuro noticed two people weren't regarding her with suspicion. One was Kyoko, seemed to be studying the situation. The other one was a skinny boy who was leaning against Kyoko's shoulder. Makoto? Yeah! Let's go! Me, the MVP, Makoto! Mukuro's lips began to tremble as she sat on the back of the motorcycle. Ignoring the pain coursing through her body, Makoto smiled at Mukuro and repeated what he said to her earlier. I'm glad you're safe, Mukuro. And unfortunately, Mukuro was unable to realize her hope filling her little sister was despair. Instead, she had successfully planted the seeds of hope into her fellow students. Oh my god, this is the freaking best. Makoto had barely regained consciousness while Mukuro was fighting the horde of Monokumas at the main entrance. When he woke up, he did something extremely simple. He talked about his memories. Most of the students were still skeptical even after listening to Mukuro's recorded confession on Chihiro's laptop. Obviously, they were still not entirely convinced at first when Makoto woke up, but after Sakura asked him a certain question, the ambience completely changed. Then beyond the walls of the school, the world is completely destroyed. You think there's no one else alive? Makoto slowly sat up for the answer to answer Sakura's meek question. Don't worry, I'm sure Kenichiro is still Who? I'm sure he still keep his promise to you. Sakura gasped. Kenichiro was the only man she could defeat. Oh, couldn't defeat! A man who had promised her a rematch and made her one of the promise as well. Nice! How do you know that name? How do you know about that promise? Because you told me. No. Makoto slowly corrected himself. You told all of us. Sakura was silent after hearing those words. But then she faced the other students and spoke in a loud, clear voice. I'm going to trust Makoto. Said Sakura! So Aoi was shocked. Sakura continued to speak with determination. Makoto just said is something I kept locked away inside my memories. In fact, I was planning to keep that secret until the day I died. But if I shared that secret, that means there was once a strong bond between Makoto and myself. And with my fellow students as well. Makoto continued to talk with a gentle tone. Though I couldn't have been good for his health, he continued to slowly talk about the memories that the other students no longer had. Well, why do you know about the story I'm playing tonight? Are you a specialist in him? You just predict the future? You already finished that story. I don't know who's talking anymore. He had me help you with thinking. Oh! What? Wait a sec. I know I started a memory from that girl related to Kuzuryu. Okay, what ties do you have with Fuyuhiko? And, could you explain further, please? Guys, because you even tried to stab my organs to them. What the hell? His wounds were excruciating, but even so, Makoto kept smiling and talking about their lives together. As if it was his duty to... So now he had to regain his memories. As the other students listened to him, they slowly began to realize something. The vivid accounts was providing couldn't be explained with just passing knowledge. Clearly, some kind of bond between them all had been erased. Only Byakuya remained standing. Yeah, he freaking sucks. But Byakuya was still hostile towards Makoto's recollection of their memories. For the time being, he determined that Makoto wasn't actually a terrorist. Mukuro had bought enough time for Makoto to wake up and share his memories with the others. And if she had intended to do that, it was still a small sliver of hope she grasped tightly. God, I love this. And now, she looked at the boy who had smiled at her, and Mukuro didn't know what to say. She couldn't think of anything to say at all. The battle was over, and Mukuro was now back to a disappointing girl. She turned away from everyone's faces and apologetically climbed off the back of the motorcycle. But Makoto saw her and slowly opened his mouth to say, Thank you, Mukuro. You saved my life. Makoto gave her words of sincere gratitude between his weak breaths. Mukuro couldn't bring herself to look at him. She mumbled to herself, Why? Huh? If Kyoko told you, then you already know what I did, right? Regaining his memories and learning the truth, Mukuro should have been nothing but a hated traitor to him. Why would he smile at someone like her? Mukuro kept her head towards Makoto and smiled as if he was unsure how to respond and said, Well, I guess you're right. But you also saved my life many times during these past 2 years, and Makoto took a deep breath, quiet breath, and smiled at Mukuro again. You're my friend, and we spent time with each other. It'd be great if you could look for a different path, not despair. And if there's any way I can help you, I will. Do you think I can walk another path at this point? I don't know what you could do, or even what I can do. But I think it's more important to look forward to that path instead of actually finding it. Was this intentional or a coincidence? Just before he regained his memories, Makoto had said something similar to Mukuro when she spoke to him in the nurse's office at Junko. Regardless of whether he lost his memories or regained them, those words revealed Makoto's true character. He's awesome. What else is new? As Mukuro confirmed that to herself, Makoto blurted out something that was almost too trusting. And not only even Junko can, but he was immediately interrupted. Oh god. Monokuma's face appeared on every monitor in the academy, and his laughter seemed to be coming out of every speaker.
I could have kept pretending to be that ultimate hacker, but it's boring to impersonate someone who doesn't even exist. Just keeps up, I'll lose my identity and turn into a Monokuma.
Kyoko looked up at the surveillance camera and addressed Monokuma directly. You seem to give up pretty easily. There isn't any bear anywhere that gives up easily as I do.
Regardless, I'm pretty sure Chihiro has figured out the secret of my control program by now. So just I thought, you included that program on purpose.
Kyoko realized something that when Mukuro told her about Junko. There were two reasons such a hateful person would intentionally leave us the obvious clue inside the Monokuma. Ooh, my units. Either Junko wanted the students to learn the truth about the outside world and themselves on their own, or turn the pages of hope and despair, or she was looking forward to the clue resulting in her own path being undone, which would allow her to feel despair towards herself. She was an angel on everlasting darkness, delighting in her own despair and using it to spread despair and destruction to those around her. Why would someone like that continue to play the role of Monokuma?
Actually, I said the program for Chihiro to discover if she happened to be the one to find out 5 survivors. My views were sad and empty that my preparation was a waste. I'm going to think about it positively. The word retreat doesn't exist in Monokuma's dictionary. Nervousness began to grip the students as Monokuma continued talking in a relaxed, uplifting voice. Now then, looks everyone's here, including Toko, who's still tied up in a room. Let's start the heart-thumbing excitement special graduation exam. There we go! Already graduating! God, I hate being sick. Drink freaking water!
I hate water! Students broke out in noisy confusion, but Monokuma ignored them and kept talking.
Don't think about it too hard. Relax. Change relax to erupt. While I care, I'll still be the most adorable bear here.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, boy. Byakuya, visibly annoyed with Monokuma's nonsensical rambling, shouted, "Don't be mad. Don't be angry at him."
Oh my. Don't you know? If you want to lure the mastermind out of her heavenly hidey-hole, you're gonna bring a worldly sacrifice. You're not worthy enough at all. Yeah! And the mastermind would show herself with a pathetic hope and despair. What?
He roared maniacally, but began to explain the special graduation exam.
If you pass my exam, you will graduate, but if you fail, you head back for a whole year. I'll tell you memories, give you a fresh new lease on life, and you introduce yourselves at the start of the school year again. They say people's lives don't come to reset buttons, but I'm not a people. Whether it's soft resets or hard resets, I can do as I please.
Yes, a hero finally making a comeback! Yes, Hero seemed confused. The other students knew what Monokuma meant by reset. He's going to force them to relive their school lives once again. As Yasuhiro struggled to understand, Taka pointed out, I swear to God, he better be the hero of the story, at a nearby monitor and shouted, "Stop this already! No matter... Oh, stop this! I don't know why I said Toko for a second. Stop this already! No matter what you do to us, we'll never continue murder! These past few days should have already been made clear to you!" What was that? Said Monokuma. Are you serious? Of course! No one here would take another human being's life for any reason! Taka shouted. One of the students, a pale-faced girl standing apart from the others, looked away. It was Sayaka. As she trembled, a voice popped up from behind her. What do you think, Sayaka? She couldn't help but turn around in sheer horror, but Sayaka knew. She knew Monokuma was standing right behind her. Do you really think none of you will become a killer? Monokuma leaned towards Sayaka and asked her a question only she could hear. Yeah, you killed Leon before. I do it again, why not? By the way, Sayaka, why'd you go to Makoto's room when nothing strange had happened yet? Did you two have an inappropriate relationship? What'd your fans think if they found out you made a move on a boy sneaking into his room? Or were you there for some other reason? She could barely make a sound, much less scream, as her trembling worsened. Monokuma had nothing to gain by cornering Sayaka and toying with her emotions like this. He simply wanted to see the young singer fall into despair over her true character. For that reason, Monokuma did not relent. Hey, what are you trying to do with your close friend you've known for the past 2 years? Her determination from the last night had been handled with the memories Makoto had encountered and ate away at Sayaka's mind like a disease. As her mind began to rip itself apart, she fell to her knees. A clear ball flying at Monokuma just under 105 miles per hour. Yes! Leon! Even though Sayaka killed you before, make it come back! Or was it... Look at his face. Or is it the crystal ball? By Yasuhiro the king! I'm gonna say it's that. Speaking of Monokuma's mouth was immediately destroyed. His body rolled in the wall and stopped moving. Sayaka came close to her sense. She looked where the ball came flying from. She saw Leon. Yes! So I hesitated, Monokuma. Yasuhiro grabbed her and said, yeah, it is it! It is it! Ugh, dude! Oh, gee, I just freaking yanked the headphones off my head. Ugh, dude, why'd you do that, Leon? That crystal ball is really valuable. Leon stolen Yasuhiro's crystal ball and thrown it at Monokuma. Leon! Jerk!
That Monokuma was trying to take Sayaka hostage. What was I supposed to do?
Dude, that crystal ball cost me like $2 trillion! $2 trillion! I don't even print that much money anymore.
Oh, both. Besides, what is that screwed up? What the hell are you gonna need money for anyway?
But save out there,
I'll just join the major leagues or whatever to pay you back. Oh well, I can pay you back for doing something else besides baseball.
As those two argue, yeah, they're just arguing as Monokuma's like,
Help me, please.
Two argued. Sayaka fell to her knees. Hey, hey, shouted Leon, running towards her.
Sayaka, are you okay?
She looked at him and stared blankly. Leon. She had made up her mind as she raised her head and said, there's something I need to confess to you. Yep. God, I freaking hate Sayaka. I don't know. Sayaka was staring at Leon so intensely that he could barely briefly forgot about the current situation. Not just to you, but to Makoto and the others too. Sayaka had made up her mind to confess the sin that was weighing heavily on her heart. Sin, but Leon seemed not to hear the latter half of the remark. He went back to the others and slapped Shifumi and Yasuhiro on the... Yeah! Shouted,
alright everyone, let's ace this exam or whatever and we'll get the hell out of here! There's no way I'm gonna let my happy memories of this place get taken away! Monokuma inside the monitor responded, Fine. Now that things are finally coming to a boil, let's start the graduation exam.
Sayaka had been outside the dormitory, suddenly appeared with some information. The Monokumas in the hallway are acting peculiar. Students all moved to the main building to see what Sakura was talking about. There they saw 50 Monokumas standing in 2 rows along the walls of the hallway, the one sitting at the very end of the hall. Ooh! Something strange on top of this Monokuma's head. An enlarged version of the escape button that Makoto had obtained from the Mono machine. As each student took in the sighted announcement ran through the school. The me at the end of the hall has a button on top of his head that will open the main entrance. You have 15 seconds to get to that button, and if you do, I'll let you have a place in a diploma. The student seemed surprised by the straightforward explanation. Only Celeste remained calm, as she asked Monokuma with a bored look on her face. Of course, it's not as simple as running up and taking it, is it? Oh, how mean! Do I look like the kind of headmaster that would interfere with a student's graduation? Forget the gunfire salutes. I'm gonna send my graduations off with some fireworks. 100 fireworks to be exact. Enough for 20 seconds of hardcore partying. The more perceptive students immediately realized what he was talking about. The bombs start of each Monokuma. They would explode one after another, filling the hallway with fire as soon as the time started. After 15 seconds, the me standing there at the end of the hall is going to sacrifice himself to give you guys one final firework. By the way, this probably isn't important, but that button isn't very durable. This graduation exam was Monokuma's way of saying that he had no intention of letting anyone leave. It was clear from the explosion students saw during the entrance exam that the hall of the Hope Academy would be bathed in fire. Even if someone was lucky enough to survive the explosion, the burns in their body alone would be enough to send them into a fatal shock. Their lungs might be completely incinerated by the scorched air before that. And if they sacrificed one student to run through, the odds were low that they even succeeded. But there's no reason for any student to run in at once either. And a shadow of despair fell upon their faces. Nice. Very nice. I almost want to take a picture so I have 2 faces from here. This Monokuma laughed from behind the monitor as Sakura stepped forward. I'll do it. No! Not again! Not again! I have only seen the explosion once, but I believe I'm capable of withstanding its power. Heck yeah, you're awesome! No, you shouted Aoi. You can't! You handle 100 of those explosions. Sakura shook her head. I'm the only one who isn't, or even has a chance. Suddenly, Mondo remembered the motorcycle he parked inside the dormitory and said, Hold up, the motorcycle might be fast enough to get through those explosions. I'll do it. Yeah! I mean, no! I don't know. Send to me. Why not? I'll plop out of the voice in my head. I'll get out of Mukuro, Monokuma, and Hajime, and Nagito. I'll get out of all their heads. Finally, that's what everybody wants anyway. I'll cure their mental stability, and I'll go out in a freaking sacrifice. Why not? Don't be hasty, urged Sakura. Even though the motorcycle was unharmed by the explosion, that doesn't mean its rider will be. As Sakura and the others continue the debate, one person stepped towards the hallway and lined up Monokuma's. Ow, don't say it's Yasuhiro. But Mukuro! Screamed Makoto weakly. No! You just got so cool! Mukuro, with her back facing Makoto, turned her head to the side slightly and gave him a small nod. She knew it would come to this. She knew why Monokuma would pose such an impossible exam. Junko was already looking forward to the next despair game. She's going to erase everyone's memory, including mine. She just wants to torment us and fill us with despair before that happens. But Mukuro knew that her sister's personality all too well. That's why she was confident. She knew that the escape button was real. Whenever Junko brought despair to others, she always made sure there was a possibility despair would befall her instead. If the students won the gamble, they would make it through this horrible situation. They would finally escape to the outside world. That outcome would obviously fill Junko with immense despair. In the same way that left included Monokuma's control panel, Junko could not be satisfied unless she took pains to assure her own destruction. It was this quality that made Junko the ultimate despair. That's why Mukuro was determined to do it. She knew she was the only person who stood a chance at making it out of that outcome possible. Even if she had to risk her life. But right now Mukuro wanted to live more than anything. She wanted to hold on to this world, a world she had no interest in previously. She didn't even know if the hesitation she felt was disappointing or not, but she wanted to live and continue searching for a new path. A path where she could abandon her submission to despair, where she could accept the sins of her past, continue to live. Mukuro, who was known as a war machine, found her heart beset by overwhelming fear and anxiety. Until now, it never occurred to her that determination was necessary to live. As if she was brushing with that fear aside, she quietly said, thank you, Makoto. Unfortunately, the words she said to the boy showed her new possibilities she never reached his ears. Sakura, however, heard her and frowned as she said, if you plan to sacrifice yourself as an act of penance, I'll stop you with all my power. Though her words were firm, there was unmistakable fiction hiding in them. Both girls had dedicated their lives to battle, and yet Mukuro felt a twinge of jealousy towards Sakura for possessing something she lacked. Mukuro leaned towards Sakura and whispered in her ear, what? Are you serious? As Sakura frowned intensified, Monokuma's voice blared throughout the halls. Alright, I'm gonna start the exam now. Ready to go! There's no time for questioning objectives. The frontmost Monokuma exploded, sending a roaring wave of heat throughout the hall, but Mukuro didn't look away. She began moving, powered by resolute determination. No! Monokuma room! As soon as the graduation exam started, the mastermind focused to control entirely on the Monokuma holding the escape button, and completely synchronized her field of vision with it. She knew what was going to happen next. She could predict what her sister Mukuro would do in this situation, but she would choose to focus her superhuman skill with weaponry, and so, through Monokuma's eyes, she watched the scene unfold, exactly as she predicted. A point metal bar burst through the explosions, heading straight for the weak point in the Monokuma holding the escape button. Specifically, it was aiming at the point where the bomb detonated. Detonation system and Monokuma's source overlapped. It flew straight and true as if it had been fired by a master archer. In order to bring despair to Monokuma, and by extension Junko as well, the super soldier known as Mukuro Ikosaba threw the pipe like a spear so it could attack the same weak point she had pierced in the nurse's office. As explosions filled the hallway until only fire visible, the spear's speed and its precision as it soared to its target defied all human logic. But the mastermind knew. She knew Mukuro had used her power to fill the world with despair. Power was all the disappointing girl had. But that power was useless against Monokuma. The mastermind had predicted that Mukuro would put all of her effort into that throw, and Monokuma caught the metal bar perfectly between his hands. The force of the throw knocked back Monokuma's back several yards, but the pointed end of the bar never pierced through his chest. Well, that was disappointing. The mastermind turned to look at an event monitor. She was waiting to see the look on Mukuro's face when she realized that she had failed to strike Monokuma. The despair of seeing the final Monokuma explode right before her eyes completely obliterated the escape button. She wanted to sear this memory of disappointing sister's final moments and newfound hope sank into a dark pit of despair. On instinct, she turned her attention to the surveillance camera that hadn't been destroyed, but instead of seeing Mukuro and the others, she only saw Sakura, who looked like she was finished launching an attack. What? She only thought it was strange for 1 second. But then the hopelessly powerful mastermind completely understood the situation, had shifted her point of view to Monokuma. but because of that single second, Junko would feel just a pang of despair. What happened? 3 seconds left. Amid the smoke, flames, heat encircled the hallway and it burst out the spread like a cannon shell. It glared at Monokuma with hot, boiling eyes that betrayed the icy expression on its face, and then, sharply, swiftly, strongly, it transformed into a living weapon that cuts through everything, revealing its true form in the hallway of despair. 2 seconds left. Monokuma was still holding the metal bar in his hands and tried to move, but at the exact moment, the living weapon carved the path through the flames and appeared before him. Its body, which had never been wounded on any battlefield, sustaining all manner of burns and injuries, and even so did not falter, just the eyes never flicked once. 1 second left. The living weapon, Mukuro, slammed her knee into the back of the metal bar Monokuma was holding. The sharp tip of the spear pierced through Monokuma like a rail spike, shredding the detonator and his power source into pieces. Time's up. The 100 explosion ceased to smoke that blackened the hallway. Mukuro had dived into Monokuma and the pristine escape button was now resting in her hand. She and the other students of Host of the Academy had passed to graduate. Yes! Yes! It was only a small amount of despair. Monokuma had tasted it only 3 seconds. Yes! Whistle hallway. Junko. Mukuro looked down at Monokuma. He could no longer move or self-destruct. When she spoke to him, a static-filled voice emitted from his mouth. It seemed like his communication function still worked. I never expected you to do that. He still sounded like Monokuma. It seemed his voice, modulated, was unharmed as well. I must have underestimated you. I never thought you'd need anybody's help on the battlefield. When I gave that signal, please launch me forward with a roundhouse kick. Mukuro whispered these words to Sakura just before the explosion started. Yes! Mukuro threw the metal bar as she jumped in the air. The exact moment Sakura unleashed a roundhouse kick. Right when Sakura's foot made contact with her own, Mukuro used the force generated a kick to propel herself at Monokuma. Using the ultimate martial artist superhuman attack like a springboard, she shot herself through the air like an artillery shell. Enduring intense heat, shrapnel, and blood-draining G-force, she stayed conscious as she charged through the hallway engulfed with explosion and despair. Mukuro trusted Junko. She trusted Junko to protect that she'd throw the metal ball and catch it accordingly. Then she tried to look on her face as despair sets in. The Junko and Ashima she knew would definitely do that. Although Mukuro hadn't predicted that her sister would try to kill her with the spears of Gungnir, she had better understanding of her actions now. As Mukuro stared at Monokuma in his face, all he could do was laugh scornfully. You put your life in someone else's hands for a deadly battle? I don't know how to feel about that. You always feel a half-assed disappointment. I guess that this time, I would just say I lost because I didn't have this disappointing coming. The end. The end. Mukuro shook her head at Monokuma. No, you're wrong, Junko. Huh? If you want to talk about winning or losing, I think we lost before we even started. Mukuro's eyes shifted from side to side as she was unsure of something that frightened in place. Continued to talk. No matter how much despair they felt, you didn't think they would kill each other the way they were before that to erase their memories. They aren't like the others you forced in the past. You knew these students would never do it. That's why you believed, isn't it? What are you talking about? So, it's okay, Junko. I'll bring back everyone's memories. Someday I'll show you everyone's happiness and their bonds. I'll show all that to you and fill you with even more despair. Mukuro nodded as she said this, as if to cheer her sister up. After several seconds of silence, Monokuma responded. You finally beat me this one time. And that lame speech is the best you can do. You're such a disappointment. You'll never feel me despair. It's just constant disappointment. After pouting like a sore loser, Monokuma continued to speak in his usual tone. But you guys will be back. And when that time comes, I'll invite you guys to a wonderful place. I found out about this fun island where I was running things here. Monokuma's laughter filled the room before the static finally cut out and his remains fell silent. He wouldn't be talking again anytime soon. The mastermind was already preparing a new despair to bring the world and the students of Host Peak Academy, Junko included. In the end, the mastermind stayed in her Monokuma persona until the very end, and Junko and Ashima never showed her face again. It was as if she resented the despair Mukuro had given her. That thought almost filled Mukuro with despair. But when she heard her classmates calling for help, she sealed that despair into the depths of her heart. From now on, she would seal all away from her despair. And one day, when she can give Junko the perfect despair, she'll release all the despair she stored and plunge into her sister into a dark abyss. I won't leave my little sister alone. In the end, that was the first hope that disappointing older sister felt when she was a child. Everyone is escaping now. Yes! Yes! Oh, I don't mean to break the seriousness, but seriousness. God, I hate being sick, but I could not wait to record this, and I'm happy I did because this is so awesome. Several hours later at the main entrance. Mukuro, you have to go out wearing that wig? What? After receiving a blonde transfusion at the correct blood type, Makoto was beginning to show signs of— Yay! Mukuro, holding a wig, disguised herself as Junko and Ashima nodded. If I live as Junko, I might be able to understand her better. Despite that, Mukuro's voice sounded like her own, as if she hadn't fully decided. And I've made up my mind. While I'm out there, I've decided I'll accept everyone's hatred towards me and towards Junko. I can't die until I've destroyed all that despair that Junko had spread. The damage that ultimate despair inflicted upon the world could not be measured in terms of money, culture, or even human life. Tension broadcasts had already begun informing people that Junko Enoshima and Mukuro Ikusawa were the heart of the ultimate despair. Among the survivors that had been outside the world, there were still people who hadn't been tainted by despair yet. Regardless of that fact, that she realized that Makoto and the others, the survivors, were nothing more than the reason the world ended. And to the terrorists wearing Monokuma masks who continued to ravage the world, Mukuro was nothing but a traitor. She was now the hopeless situation of being enemies with the most of humanity. But Mukuro wasn't making a big deal of it. I'm going to try not to kill anyone who comes after me for a bit. Yeah, there you go, that's good. I'm going to try not to kill anyone. Wouldn't it be safe if you just turned yourself in, one of Yasuhiro? Yeah. Well, you might just get executed instead. But could live to be an old lady if your trial keeps getting put back. Mukuro slowly shook her head at Yasuhiro. Laws, justice, these things have no longer exist. Is it really that bad out there? Maybe it's just staying here. Mikuyo glared at Yasuhiro with contempt. We seriously couldn't have killed him. This is perfect, except for him. He's telling my man, Yasuhiro, to shut up. I am going. They will never find your body. Moving forward, your fate will not change whether you stay in here or not. Though amid shock to use the Tokami Corporation had been destroyed, Byakuya continued to remain firm and proud, even towards Mukuro. You are rare. Continued Byakuya. You don't need to do that. I don't plan on surviving. Turning away from Byakuya like everyone should, Mukuro looked at the other students. Everyone was reaching in their own way. Kyoko had a look of quiet preparation. Toko, having just changed back from Genocide Jack, was panicking, confused. Yeah, you missed all that! I'm sorry. That was awesome. Then turned to Makoto. Mukuro looked back to the 2 years she spent with them, then turned to Makoto, who shared the same memories as her, and gave him the escape button. Makoto, you press it. Huh, me? I think it's better if you press it instead of me. She watched Makoto accept the button with some hesitation. Mukuro thought what Monokuma had said. You guys will be back. Mukuro knew that Monokuma was telling the truth. After all, the file, the students needed to fully restore their lost memories from being hidden in the academy. No! God, this is such a good day. The research notes of Yasuki Matsuda, the ultimate neurologist. Who? Are we just gonna keep bringing up characters and explaining them later, except this one? His research is the key to restoring everyone's memories. And if the students no longer have their memories, they may be able to repair the bonds they had built among themselves the past 2 years. As long as their memories remain unrestored, the mastermind could still repeat their deadly plan. Although the island mentioned earlier sounded strange, schools could not turn their backs on despair facing them. Then, let's go! Makoto remembered everything that was happening in the outside world. The boy who had chosen to remain inside the academy 2 years ago was now choosing to leave. How much did he struggle to come to that decision? But he was determined to face despair awaiting him outside and hid the internal conflict away from the others. By protecting Makoto's hope, Mukuro was able to bring despair to her beloved sister. But she no longer knew if the end result of her goal would lead to hope or despair. She put the wig over her head and hid her face with her hand. She was smiling because hope was waiting for her? Or was she crying because her path would lead to despair? When she lowered her hand, her face was devoid of all emotion. Mukuro no longer knew what expression she would wear on her face. At the same time, Makoto pressed the escape button. I silently began to wail as the turrets retracted into the ceiling. From beyond the heavy door, a bright light appeared. An infinite number of ifs and all the possibilities contained there encased the world. Accepting everything, hope, despair, and even the feelings of the disappointing girl, Mukuro Ikusawa. A cutscene! You're so weird seeing everyone here. Let's go! I mean, yes, he was here anyway, so I don't really care. Let's go! Kiyotaka, Mondo! We can kill Celeste and be out. Oh, take me, Geiger's portal! Okay, it's a bit bright. It's a bit bright! Help! God damn! Oh my god, that was awesome! That was so cool! Between like the difference between like Makoto, I love how it was all Mukuro. That gave her all the justice that she needed from the freaking not being in the first game really at all. God, I love that so much. I love that so freaking much. Oh, oh. I love. Now let's see what character information is. Makoto. Oh, it just tells who everybody is. Okay, I'm not gonna look at. I'm gonna. Well, it's not gonna work because I can't cover things. What do they say? He was the head of a public morgue, which was lazy people and annoying people. Let's go through all of them. Look at him. Look at him. Look at him! He relies on his own intuition and forms of predictions, resulting in an accuracy rate of about 30%. He's been held back a few times. I don't care. He's awesome! Look at him! God, yes, he was the best. You're the best, too. And you. Mainly you and him. Absolute best. What the frick is Aoi doing in hers? I lost her. Oh, here she is. Oh, she's eating donuts. Alright. Yes, hero! Finish. What does finish mean? Yes. Save. The last time until we do the island life. Doesn't matter. Wow. Honestly, all I can say is wow. Jesus. Well, first of all, I gotta say, I'm sorry for butchering it, the whole thing. Oh my god. Oh, I loved that so much. I'm sad that's only one episode, but I think it's a really nice final episode thing. And it's a really nice non-canon story. It's just as smart as the first game. Mondo freaking appearing and saving Mukuro. That was the freaking coolest thing ever. And I love the Trigger Happy Havoc characters so much more now. Some of them I hate more. Looking at you, Mr. Mr. Dun 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 Dun. Yes. One final Ultimate Imposter running joke gag for this series, because well, I guess this isn't really goodbye to this game, at least. But we won't make a return to this game until after Danganronpa Ultra Despair Girls, Danganronpa 3, and then the school life for the first game. That's about 2.5 games. We're gonna go away from this game, sadly, to more Danganronpa, but I mean, this game had already became my favorite game of all time, and then you just put on that novel thing. There's a whole game part of this I haven't even done yet. Not for a bit, but like, even still. Oh my god, this game is so cool. And this experience playing this game is so cool. And this experience of playing with you guys is so cool. Danganronpa is so freaking cool. I love you all so much. So very, very, very sadly, it's a bittersweet moment. We are, at least for now, finished with Danganronpa 2 Goodbye Despair. Not for long, not forever. Maybe not even for long. But for now, we must It's not so much of a goodbye. It's more like a see you later, awesome gamer. Yeah. So, maybe we'll get Yasuhiro and Ultra Despair Girls. Who knows? My brain. I'm still processing the ending. Now you're gonna chuck that whole story at me? Man. I can't get over how awesome it is going through this game with you. Which actually reminds me of something real quick. I don't know if this is really a shout out or anything, because they don't really have any videos, sadly. But there's this one person in my comment section, like almost every video now, called like, I think it's like a monarch fly. It's like a butterfly profile picture. It's called like monarch something. Thank you. Because freaking getting comments on stuff is awesome, and it's not something I'm used to, and I like reading what you guys hear. Which reminds me, a perfect segue. Comment prompt. Trying to think of a comment. Okay, comment prompt, because there's a whole thing. Out of 30, I'm giving you 30, okay? So you can be specific. Out of 30, what do you rank that? I give it 30. I give it 30. I can't think of a single negative. No. I mean, I hated Byakuya, but he's just kind of, always hated, so that's normal, You can't hate the air for being invisible. That's just normal. You can't take points off of water because it makes your skin wet. So, that's what I would say 30 out of 30. What do you guys think? And tell me why you think it's out of 30. I don't freaking know. So, once again, for the 800th time, really from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for joining me on the second game of the series. Because hope you don't mind. Hope you don't mind moving over. Cause yeah, brother, we start in Ultra Despair Girls very, very soon. So I really hope you're there when we start the next Danganronpa adventure. And thank you again for the 8 billionth time for joining me on what's now my favorite game of all time. And I'm so glad I recorded my blind reaction to stuff. So, with that being said, whoever the frick is in the next game, and me, this is the voice from Hajime Hinata and Nagito Komita for a little bit, and for a bit of Mukuro Ikosaba's. This is the three of those characters' voices in their head. This is the head voice that's driving everyone insane. This voice. We'll see you all in the next adventure. Like you can. And see ya!